This is FanSpeak, a weekly live show where the fans of comics and its community are our guests. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show. This is FanSpeak for the 22nd of July. We're actually sitting in the middle of a 4-day break for us, a very long weekend. So over here in Japan, so that should be fun. I'm still working though. How come I don't get a break? I don't get a break. Oh well, but
Quit your whining.
I know. I'll just shut up. But happy to have you guys here with us. We do appreciate it. Of course, today on FanSpeak, we're going to try to talk about a few things that are not just comic related, things that are more nerddom related. We appreciate you guys being here. Please definitely check out our links down below, and also hit me up on Twitter if you want to be part of what we're doing, suggestions, ideas. I did see a couple of things from some people in the chat. I don't know what would that be called. Well, what do they call that thing? It's at the bottom of the YouTube where people interact in. I usually kind of keep my nose out of that and let people interact.
Comments?
The comments, yeah, that's right what they call it.
I didn't know what he was talking about.
Thank you. But I usually keep my nose out of that. Let people just have
Booming
their,
harder than me, man. You're
Yeah.
booming harder than me.
That's my job. But I did see a couple comments in there. I do appreciate them. I read them all. And I saw one where it was talking about where I came on, did a short little show talking about the Wayfair situation and that it was complete bunk. And I think it was Benedict that had mentioned that, what about the SKUs? And yeah, I did look into that as well. And it's odd, but I just don't think there's anything there. I really don't. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that because usually, like I said, I just kind of leave those things alone. Nevertheless, also, if you guys would do us a favor and hit the share button and let your family and friends and extended community know what's going on so they come over here and join us live. We are live streamers after all. We'd also appreciate hitting that sub and like button as you guys do. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000. I guess that's a goal. People keep telling me it is, and of course, I'm just happy about who's in here with us, and that's the whole point for me. But who's in here with me today for FanSpeak? We have ourselves Buddy Lord. How you doing, buddy?
I thought I was Doc, man.
Oh well, you told me to call you Buddy.
I just like to mess with you. I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm awesome, dude. I'm actually having a pretty good day. It looks like it's going to rain again. We have a lot of rain. It's been a very wet summer, but I suppose it's good for the farmers. Happy to have you here. And also, we have ourselves Slick Jimmy. Hello, sir.
What's up, Chester?
Hey, I'm doing really good, dude. Like I said, happy. I got 4 days where my wife is home all day. Of course, I'm still working, but hey, I'll see more of
Does it
her.
mean you're gonna get some hot soup? Sounds like you need some noodles or something, man.
Yeah, maybe. Is that some kind of lingo?
No, like you need. No, that is not a sexual.
You need some
innuendo.
hot linguine.
Yeah.
Robbie.
It's like, damn. Doc's gone there. All right. No, I'll take care of that as well, buddy. Don't you worry about it. I got it covered.
He's on top of that
I'm on
and
top of
underneath
that,
it.
and
And,
on the side
there's
of
a
it.
lot
I
of
like
acrobatics.
the side of it. I'm a spooner. Yeah.
You're not a forker, you're a spooner.
Damn right. Anyway, also notice over here we got the medal up in the chat. We got flying saucer. Of course, Buddy also commented there, but Nick has made the comment of the day so far. Chester is giving back to FanSpeak due to the Corona-chan. All Bitcoin sent to him will be sent back double. If you send $1,000, he will send back $2,000. What a deal! He's reaching. I don't know. Now, hold on. That's Booster's job, flying saucer. Yeah, that's funny. That whole thing had happened with the Twitter hack. What you guys think about that Twitter hack? It clearly seemed like it was some people that were more conservative leaning in their thinking that hacked the hell out of them. It's usually more liberal people you see that's doing the hacks, though, right?
Maybe it's 4chan, maybe it's 8chan, maybe it's Chinese, maybe it's anonymous. Who knows?
I forgot about the 4chaners. They are deadly, aren't they? That is true. I forgot all about them. Yeah. But it was hilarious. I know that. I got a kick out of that. And I'm not so much a boomer that I didn't recognize that joke because that's something that happened a long time ago, right?
Yeah, people were tripping balls there, though. I didn't even notice it. But, I mean, apparently, certain people really, rattled their jimmies. Yeah.
Well, they what they did was is they throttled all the blue check marks. It's kind of interesting. I mean, originally the blue check mark thing didn't really have anything to do with your status. It was just simply a verification. You took time to verify your account, and I think most of us just didn't bother to do that. But over time, it became a symbol of leftism, progressivism. Oddly enough. Although our boy there, the Butter Caesar, Ethan, he's a blue check mark. He must get hit, huh?
Yeah, they must have. I mean,
Yeah, it's fixed now, I guess. But
yeah,
there's a lot of information, a lot of stuff going on. Even though Ryan Johnson there, his entire account, they just deleted his account, right?
I think
Just
he
because.
deleted it
yeah,
because he said he deleted it because it was all the crap he was getting.
not much was
Yeah,
lost.
that's the thing, though. I saw a whole bunch of information from his first comments where he was like, "Well, I have to wait till I get it back." I think it was deleted by those people because they thought it was funny because he's such a shithead, and then he tried to save face. I think is what really happened. But either way, it was interesting. It was interesting, and I've been so busy we haven't really had a time to sit down and talk about that at all. But I guess that's passe now. But yeah, it's amazing how quick the news cycle turns these days. You guys notice that? It's just a mile a minute now.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's a cycle that has no rhyme or reason other than being Marxist. It seems like a lot right now.
Oh, well, that's fair. I mean, there is a full-on culture war going on in the West. That's nothing new. It is heated up, but I don't know. I don't want to necessarily speak about it all specifically. We do kind of, talk about it more at its edges, the fringe of it, but and how it affects us. But how do you think the culture war is going? Do you see any winners or losers coming out of this?
We will see after the election, I believe.
Do you think that will be the end of it, though?
I don't think it'll be the end of it.
No.
No, I
I
don't.
mean,
But
the problem with the culture war is that, in my opinion, is that most of the game has already been lost.
By
And
who?
so, well, I mean, culture is culture in like the United States is basically just entertainment
Sure.
because entertainment has become like is most of the way that they're using indoctrination and everything. And it's like, okay, well, we were nice and we didn't, like I saw this question on Twitter today.
Mhm.
I think it was by Weaponized Nerd Rage, and he's like, "Do you gatekeep or do you not?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, you gatekeep. You gatekeep the fuck out of whatever entertainment you have left because most of
Sure.
it's dead.
Oh, no, they've
We
killed
didn't.
it. That's true.
We
That is
did
fair.
not gatekeep. They came in, took a crap on the floor, and said, "Change everything."
Yeah. Well, no, that's one problem conservatives always have. They're always against the 8 ball in that way because conservatives actually will, you know, listen and be a little patient. I'm not saying that they're perfect because they're not, but they will listen. And of course, we do know that the left will beg, borrow, steal, lie, cheat, kill. They'll do whatever to win. That's
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that matters to them. And conservatives just are, well, they're conservative. you know, it's
Well, I mean, it's the funniest thing. And what is it? The federal police, right? They send some federal police up to Portland, and it's like the federal police are protecting the federal buildings, and the federal governor is like, "No, we don't want them doing that."
yeah, which is
Okay.
ridiculous. They have no say in the matter, really. It's funny, yeah. But
I think they should just, wall it off and let them burn.
Well, I get that argument. I do get that argument, but I personally think some of them have gone so far that they need to be arrested. They need to be prosecuted. Like, for instance, that Portland mayor and the Seattle one. Those two right there.
Ted Motherfetching Wheeler.
I'm just telling you, I think they've gone beyond political activism into criminal territory, personally. And I
Well,
think the
Ted
Chicago
Wheeler,
lady is on the verge of it.
yeah, Lightfoot, whatever her name is, the one that's up in Seattle,
Mm.
De Blasio, that DA and that's prosecuting the two landowners that pulled their guns out.
The
Yeah,
DA there, yeah, well, she's going to get dealt with. That's you already see that happening. But De Blasio, I think, is just overreach, though. I wouldn't say it's prosecutable. But the ones in the
I mean
West
his
are.
city's going in his city. I mean, New York used to be a nice town back in Giuliani's days. I loved being there, but I wouldn't
Well,
go there on a bet right now.
well,
Neither is
Giuliani.
Chicago either.
Giuliani was, he came in and saved the city and he reconstructed it. And even though Bloomberg was a bit of a pain in the ass and he certainly did some things that were negative, he did kind of maintain it. So the run of those two guys in New York was doing pretty well. Better than it was when I was living there, for damn sure. I tell you, there was some. I mean, when I lived in New York and I was there for quite a while, I was just working as a professional musician, right? There's certain areas in New York you literally didn't stop at a red light. I mean, that's the reality of it, right? But it got so much better, and it's shocking to me in what quick order De Blasio has caused an upturn of all that hard work. I don't even know how you do that quickly. I mean, because keep in mind, Bloomberg was a left leaning politician, and he didn't screw it up. So what the hell, right? I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're what is it? They're like defund the police, do this, do that, and what did that one idiot say? I don't know. It was some guy was saying. Oh no, that was on CNN or whatever. What he was like, where does it say you have to protest peaceably? Oh, it's in the
Oh,
Constitution.
Fredo
Yeah.
Cuomo. Yeah. Well, see, that's another thing, though. See, I went to well, I already told you guys where I went to university and stuff, and I was working in as a one thing about being a musician. Maybe particularly like a big band jazz musician like I was. I did a lot of bar mitzvahs and weddings and that kind of stuff. I mean, I also had a few runs on the circuit with bands, and that was cool. But most of my career was just doing rich people stuff, right? And being a musician, you tend to be able to be around those kind of people, and you're kind of invisible when you're around them.
Mhm.
And so I've kind of, seen a lot of these folks. Like I've said, I've told the story here before. I met Donald Trump, right? And it was through music, and
Mhm.
it wasn't like buddy thing or any kind of interaction. It was just musically. I saw him, interacted with him. He invited us, all the musical acts, back to a big old party. And uh, you know, so the point I'm getting to is I've met the Cuomos before. I know
Mhm.
them, especially Chris. They're major dickheads. That entire family can suck both my fucking balls, dude. They really suck, dude.
I mean, they seem like it, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So that's not surprising.
I'm just saying, I'm actually wasn't paying attention because I wasn't living in the country, but I didn't even know those two had got themselves into positions of power. And then when all this was started up, what, a year or more ago, I recognized he's on freaking TV. And his brother's
Mhm.
the governor? Are you freaking kidding me? Those guys are, oh my, don't even get me started, dude. I'll probably get shot, so I better shut my mouth, I guess. But
You did see the executive order that came out today, right?
no.
Trump signed an executive order to mandate what is it? What is it? Section 130 or whatever. The no censorship for social media, and he's coming down hard on their
Well,
money.
that needs
Uh,
to happen. There needs to
it
be
does.
like,
It does. Yeah.
and I wouldn't be surprised that not just needs to have legislation, but an amendment, because that needs to be part of the First Amendment. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion, because of the way our society is now, and the way that it's been curtailed to how we can't speak about certain things without getting
Okay. Well, I'm going to say it before the mighty Lord of Thunder, who farts lightning and destroys towns as he flies over, makes the comment. Yeah, it already is in the First Amendment, dude.
Well,
Freedom of
I know, you
speech.
know what I mean, but like explicitly spelled out that
I don't.
this is
How
the
do
way it
you?
should
How
be.
are you more explicit than that?
Oh,
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, there needs to be some sort of there needs to
I
be
can do it.
something
I can do it real quick.
completely addressing that this is
turn off a
totally
little
about the
bit,
First
Thunder.
Amendment.
Yeah, no,
And so
I get you, dude. I get you, but I'm just saying, the people are breaking amendments left and right in the country. Authority, right? Like for instance,
no,
technically, any gun law is breaking the Second Amendment.
I agree. That
Right.
needs to be addressed
Yeah.
by the High Court, and it needs to be
And,
with. Well,
you know-
I think it needs that needs to be addressed by the people.
Yeah.
They need to go and say, "Look, High Court, this needs to stop. You cannot do this." I mean, I don't mind a little bit of vetting. I don't want certain crazy people, and I know this is, treading a fine line, but I've been a good citizen my entire life. All right, I mean, with a few exceptions in my youth where I did some stupid things, but like all that went away. As an adult, I have not done anything. I should be able to buy any machine gun that the military or the police have right now.
You should.
I should be able to buy a rocket launcher or an anti-aircraft missile or a damn howitzer. I mean, I don't know if we should be doing things like biological weapons and that sort of thing.
Baby. But yeah, no, I get that. But Thundero, go ahead, dude.
I can fix it. There's two ways to fix it real quick. One would be an amendment. The other way, which would be a lot easier, is just to reclassify all communications companies like we do telephone companies.
Yeah, I agree.
Every single
Platform,
one
not
of
a
them.
publisher.
Yeah, any single company that their sole function is communication, social media, even Google, really, should have complete and free access to every American citizen. Not necessarily free, but I mean free as in you can't be kicked off. Unless you do something that is explicitly illegal, like you make a threat or whatever stuff that you'd get arrested for in public if you did it anyway.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, if you give a death threat, like a serious death threat, yeah, that's out of bounds. And there are certain things if you're promoting.
Well, it's criminal and it's covered under the code.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Those things need to be covered.
Yeah, well, okay. I get the argument, but I have to say, Thundero, you've upgraded. You went from Howard Cosell, and now you have Pretty Boy picture.
Yeah, that was my boy Tucker Carlson last night when he was doing his handoff to Hannity that they do on Fox, and it's usually just pretty friendly, just a hey, good show, blah blah blah.
Right.
And it seemed like Hannity was throwing shade at him.
He probably was.
And he just looked at him like, "You mother."
Throwing shade over what?
Well, all right.
Tucker was talking about. I can do it real quick. Tucker was talking about Jeff Bezos and millionaires and billionaires like that who have made so much money during this pandemic, it's ridiculous. And he was saying how that's just wrong and unethical and da 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 da. Well, all Hannity actually heard was him talking about capitalism and just generic capitalism stuff. But when Hannity came in, it sounded like he was being dismissive of what Tucker was saying and almost condescending to him. So Tucker gave him that specific look and was not very pleased. He's like, what the hell?
Well, also keep in mind, Hannity's probably a little jealous. Hannity's been banging at this for a long time. Tucker is the boy now. He took over from Papa Bear, right? But also keep in mind that although it's absolutely ridiculous, there are Me Too accusations coming at Tucker right now because they've done everything they can to shut him down. They've even threatening his family and even being at the house of his family. I mean, the poor guy. And he doesn't complain. There's been a lot of bad things happen to Tucker, but maybe Hannity was just taking the opportunity, a little bit of professional jealousy, maybe.
Well, it might have been, but
it's supposed to be coming to Hannity too, though the Me Too stuff.
He explained it on Twitter almost immediately, and it seemed like he was rushing to do so. In fact, Hannity, Daily Caller had posted the clip of it and how awkward it was, and he immediately responded to it and said, "No, I wasn't trying to take a shot or whatever at Tucker. I was agreeing with him actually." And he apologized for the misunderstanding. But I think there definitely is some truth to the animosity because the way that he said it, the very tone that he said it in, and the way his body language was very much condescending and dismissive.
Sure.
It wasn't, hey, I'm agreeing with you, bud. It wasn't that at all.
Yeah. Well, Hannity is more egotistic than Tucker for sure.
Hannity is definitely like a Republican shill as opposed to Tucker, who He'll go with the Republicans as well. I
He
mean,
does, which is why everyone loves him. And
yeah.
of course, another thing about it is, I have no doubt in my mind that Hannity bent some interns over a desk. Not at all. But Tucker Carlson, I don't believe it.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I think Tucker's is everything he appears to be. In all honesty,
That's
even if
not
you
even the
disagree with him,
accusation, though. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
even if you disagree with him, I think like politically or whatever, and obviously there's people who think he's like a fascist, which is obviously ridiculous.
Well,
But
yeah.
I
No,
think
it
he
is.
has
It is. Yeah.
the integrity that he shows, like in like what you just said, he'll go after everybody. Is who he is. I don't
Yeah.
think it's a character. I don't think it's an act. I mean, he's
No.
probably playing it up a little bit for TV because everybody does, but I think that's just who he is generally. Hannity is a shill. He'll go whoever's in power, whatever the narrative is. He'll either go right with it or he'll go just barely opposite of it, but really he's just going with it. He's just
Sure.
pretending to be the opposition.
Sure. Well, and of course we had Hannity and Combs way, 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 way back, right?
Hmm.
And so Hannity's been kind of sitting in that bro seat for a very long time,
The
and that's fine. I
catbird
have no.
seat.
Yeah, there you go. And I have no trouble with it. I like Hannity well enough. He is a shill though, but that's okay. But Tucker, he had to bang it out a lot longer, and he had to earn his seat. And we've seen Tucker, do interviews and a lot of stuff that Hannity would never, lower himself to do.
Correct.
But it's interesting. The thing with Tucker, though,
Well,
the one thing with Tucker, though, that's was interesting about this accusation was the accusation is that some lady was on his show. After it was over, he asked his crew, I guess, during some break or crossover point, if they would ask her if she would stay. I think it was like only a few minutes left, and she felt offended by that for one. And then after it was over, he got up real quick. He changed his jacket out for his leather jacket, and came over to says, "Hey, look, I got to run over to the Christmas party real quick. I'm only going to be there a few minutes, but I got to go and show my face. But I just want to say thank you for being here." So she
Yeah.
considers it sexual assault that he changed his jacket in front of her.
what the fuck?
Remember now, if you remember last year and the year before, he kept having this. He had her on a few times. This just absolutely crazy lady who looks like a toad, like she literally looks like a toad, and she was a super hardcore feminist. And he basically just had her on there to laugh at the nonsense she says. But she kept coming on. That's the lady.
Yeah, sure. I
That's
know
the
who it is.
lady.
Yeah, yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. He
He
obviously
he
has no interest
changed
in this
his
woman.
coat.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
How? What? Okay.
I get
This is just more 2020. Like
it is.
people are absolutely crazy.
Tucker's just too much man. He's just too much man to be changing his coat. Isn't that right, buddy?
I guess, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
And she,
Didn't he
Change
get
the
like
coat in front of me. I don't know.
like New York Times threatened to dox him or something?
Yes.
yeah. And then they said they didn't dox him yet, but he called him out for. I guess
Yeah,
he
because he
didn't.
called him out, and his fans went after they found the guy's brother
Right.
and were like, "Are you going to be at his concert? Because I'd like to talk to you."
Well, he was doxxed some years back, if you remember, and
Yeah.
he was working, I guess, out
And
in
he
New
had to
York.
move.
Oh, he
He
had
had
to
to
move
move.
because a whole bunch of these damn people showed up out front of his house with his wife and kids there. It's freaking ridiculous. And it's but anyway, I mean, we're kind of getting deep into the political side of things, but man, that's all right. That's the world I guess we're in right now. But yeah, I like Tucker.
Can I ask one last thing from you, Chester? You said you had rain in your area, and apparently there's been lots of rain in China. Have you heard any more about the Three Gorges, if it's going to breach or what?
Oh, you want China information? How long we got? Let me look at the clock.
Well, I just want to know about the dam. I looked it up, and I couldn't get current stuff. I got last week.
All right. Well, let me give the quickest update I can on China. I'll get to the dam last. There are currently 3 viruses running around, China, not one. The coronavirus has shut Beijing down completely, as well as other cities. One to the north, Wuhan, is still intermittent and it's shut down, so don't listen to a damn word. And of course, that they say, but of course they keep saying no one has died. But they also have a swine flu that's running around China, so that's great. And then the bubonic frickin' plague is back. So yeah, good on you, China.
Wow.
The
So they
communists,
went old school with their
they
with
did,
their
they did,
because that's
yeah.
what they came up with the bubonic plague
They did.
originally too, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
That's right. It's Chinese virus again. China. That killed a lot of Europeans too. But anyway, other than that, politically, they're actually in a lot of stress. There's a lot of bad things going on for them, which is good, because you're getting a lot of pressure from many countries involved with the Uyghur thing. There's been a lot of pictures and information come out because they can't stand them, the Muslims, and I kind of get that in a way, but they're China doesn't like say stop being mean and killing people or terrorism. They just kill you, right? And they have managed over the past so many years to wipe out 80% of the Uyghur population. So, pretty efficient. But then, of course, you have full long, what is it called?
It's kind of like what they did to that's kind of like what they did to the Christians back in the day.
Oh, they still do it. They still do it. Matter of fact, there has in the past few weeks, they have burned down and destroyed or taken down for public safety because it's an eyesore. What is it? 80 plus churches. Because keep in mind that to try to make themselves look a little bit better, when stupid Jimmy Carter decided to open up China, they allowed Christians to come back. It was probably a deal they had with Jimmy Carter, I think. But now they're just breaking down on him again. But the Falun Gong, which was now keep in mind that when Mao Zedong came in and murdered everything that had a brain and burned and destroyed everything as communists tend to do, they destroy the religion. There is no more cultural religious aspect to China at all. But to replace the spirituality, they created this full-on, how I forget how you pronounce it, but they created this spiritual kind of Tai Chi meditation religion. It's not a religion; it's just spirituality without God, right? Which is funny because Buddhism doesn't have any gods anyway. But whatever. But
I mean,
they
isn't that basically agnosticism?
in a way, yeah, yeah. But it's you can become God, right? Buddhism, right? But nevertheless, it went on and it was very successful. This creation of the CCP, but it became so successful they actually had more members than the CCP did. Therefore, they had to destroy it. And they have been murdering them. They're the ones that they use mainly for their, ironically, for their organ harvesting, because these people don't drink, they don't smoke, they're very, strict about their diet, and they're very healthy. So their organs are actually very good. So they're the ones that are getting hit for that. So you got all that going on. And just I could go on for a long time, but I won't. I'll end it up with the dams. Many dams have failed in China. This is some of the worst rain they've had since the 80s. 86, I think, is the where it's currently sitting at right now. It's not the worst year in their history, certainly not. And if you know anything about Chinese history, you'll understand that the whole country was founded upon this kind of legendary mythical character. And what did he do? Was he a Hercules type character, or which most of the Western heroes are kind of like the adventuring type? Well, no, he was an engineer that went around and built levees and all kind of things to make the Yangtze and the other rivers livable. That's their founder. That's their founding story. So it shows you that they've had a lot of trouble with rain in the history of China. So it's certainly not the worst year, but it's really bad. And the problem they're having is, communism. One of the main reasons why communism fails is because there's no motivation to be good at what you do, right? Because you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People do not understand that one of the base reasons why communism fails is because of behavior.
Yeah. It
It
is.
looks great on paper, but the problem is that if you give someone a base level to get the same money as everyone else around them, they're going to do below that.
No, it's true, and of course, welfare is a form of this. It certainly has a similar effect, and therefore, it's part of the Marxist plan. But that's very, very true. But because of that, the construction of these dams and everything else in China, it's shoddy, and that's why everything is falling to pieces and falling down. We got buildings that were only built a decade ago that are already falling down. Right? That's how poor the
The,
quality is. Right? Um,
yeah.
so we got bridges have been fallen down. We've had a bunch of dams have failed. They've had to blow up levees and dams just to allow water to flow a little better. And yes, the Three Gorges Dam, the big thing that was the largest in the world, where they spent a ton of money and they were so proud, which is not built that long ago. Keep in mind, not only is it kind of full open without telling the people, they've literally drowned people in their sleep. They did it in the middle of the night, which is intentional, right? When they open
I
up
think
those
it's
dams.
I saw that like the sluice opened and this
Yes.
huge tidal wave flying
Yeah.
down in the
And they
farmland, and I'm
killed.
like,
We
and
don't
they're
even
like,
know how
it's
many.
okay, don't
Yeah.
worry.
We don't even know how many
Well,
are dead. Hundreds,
you know,
probably
the last time
thousands,
I
maybe.
said, the last time it was 140 people they said died, but
Yeah, it's
I don't.
probably
I
more.
can't take any number that
No,
they talk
Chinese
about.
lie. Yeah, the
Well,
CCP,
I mean,
CCP lies all the time, just like any
yeah.
other
Well,
liberal group, dude. They lie.
in almost any country, like I'm gonna give you an example. Remember the earthquake back in the 80s in Mexico City? Do you
Sure,
remember
why
that?
not? No, not really,
Okay,
but
there was a fairly good earthquake there. 10,000 people, they said, died.
wow.
My relatives are kind of in the upper. They said it was more like 100,000.
Yeah,
They
that's
played down the
possible.
death because there's no standards about all the slums that surround the city, and when it shook, it's like a bowl full of jelly because it's an old lake bed,
Yeah.
and it just people died. They were buried, and they just built shit on the top of the rubble. That was
You
it.
know, sure. Yeah. Well, we
So
had
I
a
would
couple hundred.
assume that China would be the same.
Oh no, they're even worse because of their political leanings. But yeah, we had a couple 100,000 die from the Indian Ocean earthquake and resulting tsunami, right? But anyway, but to finish my point, yes, the Three Gorge Dam is in a lot of trouble. It's cracking. It has breaking along its entire surface, and it has literally moved.
Isn't it only 15 years old or something like
That's
that?
my point. It's very young. It's shoddy
Holy
construction, and they
shit!
and they complained about it at the time. The actual engineers who gave a shit in China said, "Well, hold on a second. This is not a good thing we're doing here. Because understand that is the largest dam in the world. It's bigger than Hoover. Now Hoover's a badass construction that'll be there for 1,000 years, right?
Yeah,
But
the
this
Three
thing is
Gorge Dam is
shoddy.
way, isn't it really wide as
It's
opposed to
very wide.
tall?
Yeah, but you let me reiterate what I said, Slick. The thing has moved and it's
The dam has
leaking.
moved,
Yes.
so they didn't do the foundations properly, is what
No.
you're saying.
It's literally moving off its base, and it's
Shit,
leaking
that's crazy. Like the Hoover and the Glen Canyon dams are engineering marvels. You know, people died in them, by the way,
a
especially
lot
Hoover.
died. Yeah, in Hoover. Yeah,
Especially Hoover.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, they made them to last. Those are very well constructed
they did. Well,
dams because they know what'll happen if they
those
don't
are
if they weren't.
those were built by German immigrants mainly, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's good stuff over there with the Hoover. But yeah, so and there, of course, you would think, all right, well, we need to evacuate everything south on the Yangtze, right? We need to evacuate everyone. Are they doing that? Nope.
Isn't there
So,
like 400 million people in that
oh, it's
plane?
going to kill a lot of people. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and China doesn't care. They got too many damn people as far as they're concerned anyway, right? And of course, with all their political pressures from Hong Kong, the international pressures, Australia's taking bites at them. The European Union's is biting at them left and right. Trump is freaking banging him in the head. And I have
Yeah,
to tell,
India.
India, well, India wants to go to frickin' war. Now,
Yeah.
Iran is also pushing back, which I don't think Iran has much push. And the thing is, it's a bit sad for him. Is Trump gave him a way out, right? A couple years ago, right? He's like, all right, you guys are assholes. You do a lot of bad things. I don't like what you do, but here we're going to make a deal. You're going to be better, and we're going to let you continue. I mean, Trump literally put that peace flag out for them to try to move forward, and they refused it. Whether now this whole situation with the Corona Chan, maybe this had an effect on it. Whatever, but he gave him a chance, and now he's screw it. He's taking a baseball bat to him, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
So
Unless we get Biden in there, he'll just go back to the TTP.
I don't think it matters because the rest of the world is seeing an opportunity and they're jumping on it. And I have a feeling we're going to see action on that before the election anyway. But yeah, there you go. Even Japan has somehow, so I don't know where, found some balls, and they've been pushing back against China, which That's the
Yeah, they
biggest
just took
shock for
out
me.
87 companies out of China.
Yeah, it's actually more than that, dude. It's more close to
Well,
300.
87 the first day.
Yeah.
Is like was like within they were like, yeah, okay, we're tired of this.
Well,
Some it was a nitrile gloves company was the first to leave.
yeah. Well, it's a lot of stuff. And what happened, what the funny thing was is, Japan was one of the early countries to react to what was happening with the coronavirus. And like Vietnam, Taiwan, etc. Japan was very early in their reaction. And what they did is they set a lot of money aside to deal with it because they thought it was going to be just like everybody else, this major pandemic that was going to wipe out half the population of the planet or something. But the thing is, they had no need for any of that money because there was hardly anything at all here. So they had all that money
Mm.
already earmarked. So what Abe did was he's like, well, we got the money here, so let's just use it. So he took that money and he shifted it to pay all these companies big, huge chunk, basically to pay their moving costs. Right. So a lot of these companies have either come back to Japan or moved down to Indonesia or Vietnam or what have you, which, to be fair, are much friendlier markets anyway. So it all kind of worked out in the end as far as that's concerned. But yeah, no, the situation over here in Asia, it's China. What are they going to do? Because China historically is not a country that attacks beyond its borders. It's just not what they do. I mean, we have thousands of years of examples of this. They just don't do that. They're economic warriors. That's what they are. But they're getting their shit handed to them right now. So what? How is this modern CCP? Which isn't even an Asian concept, right? This Marxism. How is this modern organization inside China? How are they going to react ultimately? I don't think they can pull the military trigger because they don't have any push at all. It's funny to me listen to people in the West when they panic about China or especially North Korea. It's like we have to worry about North Korea. What are you talking about? North Korea has got zero push. The only reason they even exist is because we're worried that we have a 6-minute plan, and unless it's 100% perfect, people will die in Seoul. That's the only reason why North Korea is there.
I
But
know that the Marines wait on the border
yeah,
between South Korea and North Korea, and they would relish because of history the opportunity to be devil dogs once again.
oh yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling, but that's China. Thundero,
I just
would you like to
you,
interact
you
on
went
that?
off in a lot of stuff. I just want to know,
I couldn't.
the damn thing is
I've been
the
holding
damn
it
thing.
slick.
The
I've been
problem
holding
with
it.
China is while they are evil, they're also really, really insidious.
Oh yeah,
And they've been on the ropes many, many times in the last 100 years alone, and they always find a way back off. Usually it's because the West is just full of actual idiots
yes,
who let them off the ropes. So this election, above all else, you want to talk about domestic policy, whatever, you want to talk about internationally, Trump has put China on the ropes like no one else has ever done before.
that's
Not
right.
since the Cultural Revolution that they took over, the communists did. If Biden gets in, he's going to pull that all back and just start sucking China's dick again.
Oh no, he
Trump's going
will.
to
Yeah, yeah,
Trump is probably if he gets reelected, unless he just does a total tone shift for some reason, he's going to make China pay for this virus because this is definitely their doing. I still believe it was a bioweapon that they purposely unleashed and tested on their own populace first. Um, because everything at first anyway, for the first few months after we got hit with it, everything was going their way. They were winning at every front because there was no one to stop them. We weren't there to stop them, and the only other people who could really were also worried about the same thing. So it was a great, at first anyway, it looked like a great thing going happen in the end for China. They were taking over a bunch of territory, like in the oceans and stuff, the South Chinese Sea. They were making moves all over. They were even poking at India. I think India showed up enough of a front that they aren't going to do too much there. It would take a lot for those two to actually go to full war, I think, just because they both nuclear states. They're right next to each other. It wouldn't be
yeah.
pretty. It'd be a bloodbath like we've never seen. Um, so I don't think the CCP is that crazy, but if something happens to that dam for real happens,
Hmm.
they might get that crazy. They're going to lose unbelievable amounts of people, and the whole world's going to suffer for it for a while.
Well, I think it's inevitable, Thundero. I don't know, what do you do with it? I mean, the thing is cracked, it's leaking like a frickin' sieve, and it's moved off its foundation. How you can't fix that.
No,
You can't fix
the
that.
only thing they could potentially do if they got on it right now is they could try and divert it, at least a lot of it, and minimize the impact. But it's coming.
Oh,
One way
they've
or the
been
other, that
doing
thing's
that.
going to
They
happen.
have been doing
Yeah,
that, yeah.
they're going to
Um,
have to do that at a massive scale like we've never seen before.
yeah.
That it's going to be one of the biggest disasters in the history of the human race. In all
Well,
honesty,
I mean,
it's going
a
to be
lot
tragic.
and a lot of people, made the question in the beginning too, because we have great river systems around the world that created civilization, right? We got the Indus Valley, we have the Nile Valley, we have the Mississippi, and of course, there's a lot of archaeology on there, and of course, we also have the Yangtze. These are great, great river systems, incredibly powerful ones, and Yangtze is by far the most powerful because it is fast moving, where things like the Mississippi and the Nile are very seasonal and very slow moving, right? And the simple idea to even try to dam it was questioned from the very beginning. And here we are. Not so long after its completion, and the thing is about to pop. So, anyway, let's change our subject, get into some of the things I actually want to talk about today, since we're 45 minutes in. But John Dillard wants everyone to know when he takes his jacket, changes his jacket, the mood in the room changes as well. Right, John?
Is that because he's in a trench coat?
Probably. Yeah, that's probably what it is. I'd be afraid. I
And
mean,
that is
John's a
all.
bit. John's a bit of a hairy bastard too. He'd probably scare the hell out of the little
That's
kids.
right. He's like
Um,
those Mexican wolf people.
yeah.
Yeah, man, that's wild.
Hey,
That's why
Booster.
they call him the street.
Oh God, you remember that song, dude? Booster, I got a question for you. You might know the answer to this one because I don't. Eagle 43 asked a question that I hope he follows up with because I actually think it's interesting. He says, "Did you guys hear about James Pattinson, Patterson, and the Shadow? What's going on with that?"
I didn't hear about that. He
Oh,
must be doing
James
a shadow
Patterson,
run.
the author.
I don't know, dude.
Hmm.
I'm not sure. I thought at first it was Pattinson, but I guess that Twilight kid's a different name. But I don't know. Tell
He's
me,
Robert
Eagle.
Pattinson.
That's what I meant. It didn't click with me, so I didn't know what it was. But Eagle, tell us because I'd love to know. I love the Shadow. It's a great stuff. Especially who did which comic company was it? Dynamite or Image? Someone did a great Shadow run some decade or more ago. It was a really good run. Who did
Is it
that?
Image who has them or Boom? I keep forgetting.
I think it might have
I have
been.
to
I think maybe
I have to
both of
look
them.
this up
I'm
now.
not sure, but they were really
Hmm.
good, man. And that's what introduced me to the Shadow. I knew the Shadow from before, but I didn't really read it. But when those new ones came out, maybe it was even 20 years ago. But when those came out, I was like, wow, I really enjoyed it. Those were really good. The Metal says,
Yeah, Dynamite.
Dynamite. All right. I should have went with my gut, right? First thing I said. It's easy to change the tone of the room. Is the new coat is a of paint with a new coat of paint. Oh, I see. Well, he wore a leather jacket, and that is sexy. It's true. Uh, yeah, the rodents going back to bubonic plague. The metal says, Psh, communism doesn't even look good on paper if you look at it closely. True. It looks great through blurry lenses from a mile away. Well, I mean, look where it's coming from. Roger says, Booster, Black Dragon, Kiwi. How does that sound? What the hell is that? Don't give him. Don't indulge him, Roger.
What is he going on about? What is this Black Dragon thing?
I don't know.
I don't get. I don't want to be a Black Dragon
No,
unless it's my dick.
Unless it's your dick. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, Booster, I saw in the Discord there was some kind of thing, some show or advertisement where you had a really well drawn 3D kiwi. What the hell was that?
Well drawn 3D Kiwi. What are you on about?
I saw something in the Discord. Let me go look at it real quick. I actually didn't close the Discord.
That was a thumbnail I made for a new show I'm doing.
Ooh, Booster plays Validate.
Yeah, valid date. Could you believe it? Do you know what it is?
No.
Yeah,
It's
I
a-
saw the first like 30 seconds.
You couldn't take much more than that, huh?
No.
Well, Chester, it is a visual novel
Uh-huh.
dating sim where you
Uh-huh.
get to date trannies.
Oh,
Particularly
always wanted, but you never knew you
non-white
did.
trannies.
I don't even
Mhm,
understand. I don't understand. What?
It's a choose-your-own-adventure game where you date
Oh,
trannies.
okay. I know those things. All
Mm.
right. And why?
Because it was cringy as hell, and I am a cringe connoisseur.
Oh, I see. All right, cool. Choose Your Adventures. They're still making those things. I like those, man. Those are fun. I remember
And
it.
this one's so much fun.
Oh, all right. Well, enjoy yourself. But actually, remember when the choose your own adventure books they changed in the late '70s, I guess. Whereas you actually started to be able to use dice, and you'd have to have like a little side piece paper to write your character. It got real fancy there. You guys, any of you guys remember the old choose your own adventure stuff?
I do.
Yeah, those are great. Glad
I
to see
remember
it's
reading
making
when
a
I was a
comeback.
kid for like Transformers and stuff like that. Looks like James Patterson is he's doing a series of looks like 6 books that are going to be adapted to movies.
Sweet.
Oh,
No.
so James Patterson is doing The Shadow.
Yeah, he's doing The Shadow. He's doing 6 books. They're not comics. They're books. They're actual novels.
That's
Okay.
fine.
But they're doing
Yeah.
movies or TV shows.
Which I like. Yeah, which I don't know what that means. I mean, that could mean I don't know. Like if, I know I don't know, but X knows a few people in Hollywood, and he's telling me now that like they're all saying the same thing, which is especially in California, obviously they can't do anything. And their other go-to place was Canada. Well, guess what? You can't do anything there either.
Yeah.
With COVID, so there are no movies being made.
No,
because
there
the
isn't.
actors,
It's true. Yeah.
the actresses and actors can't be near one another. It's kind of hard to do lines when you can't talk.
That's true. That's true. And
you
including
can't
the
do love
cocaine,
scenes. You
cocaine
have to
industry.
socially distance your love scenes. It's tough.
Yeah. But it sounds good though. I think that'll be a lot of fun. It's the one thing I think would be good about that is with Batman. I mean, a lot of people love Batman, but he's become so overpowered that they tend not to really lean into the detective side of him much. As much as they should, I think. The Shadow being, less, like kind of old school, they'll lean into the detective part a lot. You would think, right?
I've posted the article that Eagle 43 was talking about in the Discord here.
Oh, all right. Well, let me do that. Let me switch over here and let me share with you guys, and then I'll see if I can't bring that up along. So here we go. Okay. Sweet. All right. So I had brought that up. You guys can take a look if you'd like on this side, and let me bring this up and see if which side it drops it on. I might have to bring it over, but that's all right. Let's see. Yeah, it does. I have to bring it over from this side. No, that's Booster Plays. You were trying to trick me. You were trying to trick me. I get it. Bastard. All right. So let me go ahead and bring this up, and let's get into it. Now, Booster. Let's see. Do I want to start here? No, let's not. Let's start on the other side. Let's start over here first. I think that's better. Go ahead, Booster.
Transformers and Back to the Future crossover announced. What? Why?
Yeah.
That is the strangest, most unnecessary crossover I've ever heard of. And I've seen some unnecessary crossovers.
Yeah, it smells of just ridiculous levels of desperation to me. First of all, you'd have to recast Back to the Future, which they're desperate to do, right? And why the hell Transformers? What? Huh? But anyway, Marty McFly will be teaming up with the Autobots in a Transformer and Back to the Future crossover. The crossover series will come from IDW Publishing, and will be written by upcoming Star Wars: The High Republic writer Kevin Scott, with art by Juan Samu. All right.
Kevin Scott?
The Kevin Scott, yes. Kevin Scott.
Oh.
Kevin. Of course, it's spelled. Get rid of that white.
Get a real name, Kevin.
You're right. But none of that sounds good to me. IDW is a sinking ship. One. Star Wars: The High Republic, no thank you, because the number one thing they put on the board, which they put twice, was representation and no violence, no war, dinosaurs. Yeah, so okay, I'm really that's a little yeah no Transformers and Marty McFly. It's a comic. I guess you could throw a dagger at the wall. I mean, if you remember, some of the older folks in here, back in the late '70s and '80s in particular, there are a lot of really weird crossovers. They would just throw any celebrity into a comic, right? They used to do that. So it's not something I haven't seen before, but it's a weird choice, guys. What do you think about this? Anybody?
Not
I
my first choice.
yeah, I don't see the
I mean, it just reeks of like, oh my god, we've lost the boomer audience. How do we get them back?
Right? Yeah.
Well, the problem is not only have they lost the boomer audience, but the young audience doesn't give a shit either. So they've lost all audiences.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sort of like what is it? The whole dynamite fiasco. It's like, oh, well, you screwed the people that were buying, you screwed the people that weren't buying, and no one else cares. So
Yeah, that is, it's just, I don't even know how to take this Thundero. And he just announced he's so excited about it. I mean, I'm happy he's working. Even if he's a jack
why is
off, I'm
that?
still.
Who's that guy? Who
I
is
don't
it?
know who he is, but I'm happy he's working anyway. But I'm writing the time twisting Transformers Back to the Future miniseries, finally writing Autobots and Decepticons with Martin McFly and Doc Brown to boot. Great Scott! And great art from one Samu.
Are they going to take the Transformers back to 1955, or are they going to go back to the Old West? It's a conundrum.
It's a conundrum, yeah. It's just weird, Thundero. It's hurting my brain, dude.
I just here's what it is. They're flailing. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Nobody can, besides Marvel and I guess Star Wars to some degree, nobody's being super successful really at anything. Like some of them are making okay money, but comparatively, they're not making the money that they're making at stuff. So I don't know.
I think it's just like flinging poo at the wall and hoping something.
They're just
sticks.
flailing. They're just hoping something will stick. I mean, I guess it's an okay idea. I just don't see. I don't see the audience for it. Transformers fans are going to just be like, okay, and Back to the Future fans, the ones that still exist, are just going to be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
They're both going to be like, great Scott.
Yeah,
Right.
Great Scott, yeah. But I mean, Back to the Future, great series, a lot of fun. But what I'm getting from the picture and the little bit I've read here, what it seems to me is the DeLorean has been replaced by Gigawatt, is really what it seems like. So you probably got to have one Transformer, and he's the car, right? And maybe the Decepticons have somehow found a way to travel back in time, and the Autobots had no way to do it, and they had to get Doc Brown to come and help them. Maybe that's probably right there. I probably just told you the story.
This already sounds like the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yep. It's bizarre. It is weird.
And I read what Nancy Pelosi said earlier. So
Oh God. The first analogy that comes to my head is taking Mork from Mork and Mindy and putting him on the deck of the Enterprise in Star Trek, and that actually makes more sense than this. That's not right. Yeah. Although Robin Williams is awesome. Nanu. I don't know, dude. It's just not right. What did Nancy Pelosi say?
They should do a Mork and Mindy crossover with G.I. Joe. That would be awesome.
Once again, makes more sense than this, which is shocking. But what did Nancy Pelosi say?
this morning? Let's see.
Oh, you were joking. I see.
Remember? No, because you were just saying she was just talking about a whole bunch of crap about like COVID and the Democrats and everything else. She's like, let's call the coronavirus the Trump virus.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that makes brilliant sense.
Yeah, sure.
She's
Perfectly,
like,
yeah.
Oh,
that's right. Trump made it himself in a lab.
He did.
That is so original. How did we come up with that?
We should do that, guys.
Think about it. The greatest virus you ever seen. Brilliant. It's going to be brilliant. Look, I got my lab coat on. I put it in a beaker. Look at it. There it is.
Think about it. if we give it to Trump and we beat this thing before the end of the year or early next year, he gets all the credit. It's his virus. He won. He beat it. You know he'll do it. You know if he gets reelected, which he probably, I don't know. We'll see what happens. And we beat this thing within a year or so, he's going to take all the credit, and they're going to not be able to do anything because they've tried to give him all the credit this whole time.
Yeah. Well, they shoot themselves in the foot a lot. It's actually shocking to me how easy it has been for Trump to play them. And you can see it a mile away. I'm like, you guys do realize he's taunting you and you're taking the bait every time. It's how stupid can you be? I mean, people say Trump's this genius 440 Jess guy. Oh, he's not dumb, but he's not that clever. They're just really stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to take away from the Trump man, but I'm just saying you can see it a mile away, and then every time they bite, and I'm like, really? You're disappointing me, Democrats.
Well, they don't really understand behavior.
Seemingly, yeah, they don't understand their own behavior. I think is the problem. But anyway, dumb. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be a blockbuster, and old Kevin here, or Kavan. I mean, what the hell, man? What were your parents thinking, dude? Kavan. But who knows?
They knew this kid was a bad one. They're like, oh, this little. Well, we're gonna call him Kevin, but he's probably gonna come up with a shitty crossover idea. So fuck him. He's
Probably.
Kevin now.
I have to see if there's actually any etymology. You guys know that I'm usually very quick with those things. As far as knowing the meaning of a word very quickly, this doesn't even pop in my head, dude. I think it's just made up. Give me a second.
He made it. He made it up himself.
He made
Yeah,
it
his
Kavan.
parents probably just made it up.
You think his name's Kevin and he wrote that down on the sheet to submit
it's
into a comic company
avant-garde.
so that he sounds
It's
a bit more
Gaelic-
ethnic.
It's the Gaelic word for handsome.
It is?
It is an actual Gaelic word. Yeah, I just checked it as well. It's actually there's a county, Cavan in Ireland. So there you go.
I'm looking at the guy though.
exists.
It's a misnomer.
He's like,
Yeah.
it's not right. This
Yeah.
dude is one beard away from being a soy boy.
Maybe I don't know anything about this guy. He could be a cool guy. I don't know. And like I said, I'm happy he's working, but I don't know him. If someone in the chat does, let us know. But I mean, I don't know what to even think about this article. That's why I put it up. I was like, huh? Huh? All right. Anyway, this right here is wonderful, though. Wonderful.
So just a little aside here, we had 1,200 deaths today, supposedly. So that was 1,100 yesterday. We've had a spike. Everybody's
what are
reporting
people
all the
doing to
deaths.
each other
All the
today?
deaths are happening.
Savages.
Watch out.
Oh my god.
Go ahead, Booster.
Star Trek Picard producer Akiva Goldsman, what's happening culturally right now will be reflective in season 2. You know, the future.
Yeah.
Well, that
God.
that whole like cultural reflection thing has worked really well
Yeah.
in the past 2 years.
Yeah. Well, they're coming
It
out.
just horrifically dates every show you put it in, and a show based in the future should not be culturally reflecting what's happening now.
No, and of course the problem is they're not clever about it. You can do politics in your story fine, but you have to be clever about it. These guys aren't. They're very bad. They're very poor writers. Picard was an absolute train wreck. I mean, it was worse than Discovery. And Discovery has another season coming too. So these people are basically just putting the finger up. They're doubling, tripling, quadrupling down. They don't care, and that's fine. Neither do we. So do what you want to do, dude.
Well, the other problem is you can do this where you reflect, cultural issues, whatever, in your art. That's fine. The problem is when you do it so one-sidedly, and it only take all of the negative aspects and shove it into your art, and then it just becomes you preaching at that point. You're not trying to have some nuance or some, make a great artistic point to address an issue like Star Trek used to do in the golden age of Star Trek. No, you're just ham-fisting your worldview into what is supposed to be an optimistic future. Well, apparently it's not anymore because it's basically just now, but with spaceships.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I'd fly away. Like now with spaceships, I'd be like, take me home.
So now he's saying he was inspired. They were inspired by the movie Logan. Okay, well that was a good movie, and it has nothing to do with what you're saying here, you morons. But anyway, I just put that up because of the headline. Because it's dumb. We're done with it. You know, this kind of comes back to something that Buddy was saying earlier, though. The simple fact of the matter is they've taken every IP that let's be fair, that men love, whether it be in the board game world, the gaming world, comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, whatever. If it's something men like, they have absolutely torn it to pieces and destroyed it. That's what they've done. And they've gotten to the point that no one gives a shit about what you're doing with Star Wars. Star Wars is dead. No one cares what you're doing with Star Trek. Star Trek is dead, etc., etc., etc. So I guess claps. They were successful. They win, and good for you, I guess.
Finger snaps.
Finger snaps. Yeah.
It does seem like that
That sounds
Logan
more
has
like
inspired a
fapping than
whole.
snapping.
Yes. It does seem like Logan has inspired a whole chain of things. Like, they seem to mistake it deep with gritty, F-bombs,
Yeah.
gore.
Yeah.
It's just, did something
that's
Star Trek need
postmodernism.
F-bombs?
That's
Did you
postmodernism. So
did you guys feel that like the Discovery, like the F words in Discovery and Picard were just felt so out of place for Star Trek?
Of course
Because
they
I'm
did.
deeply forced.
Well,
Yeah.
it's I can explain that real quick for you. It's low class people trying to write a high class, high concept thing.
Well, I don't
Uh,
mind swear words in the right context, but this is Star Wars. I mean, Star Trek.
Yeah, no, it doesn't belong there. The future of the Starfleet and all these things were always presented as a much more higher class of people. The way they behaved, carried
Well-
themselves, very disciplined, especially under the TNG era onwards. You wouldn't, or very rarely would hear any kind of swearing. It's just not something that people of a certain class really do that often.
Well, no,
At least not in a formal setting like work, which is what the
No.
ship is supposed to be. It's work.
That's right. And Gene Roddenberry created a utopian future anyway. That's what he was trying to do. It wasn't about dystopia. It was utopia, right? And he did a great job with it. And it was it took some time to get its legs. I think it was probably a little ahead of its time, coming out in the early 60s. But it did find its feet. And it became a major IP. And I agree, although I do love the old Captain Kirk, TNG did take it to where it needed to get. And good on them for that, right? Because that showed
And-
you precisely what the idea was. So,
And TNG was largely Roddenberry still. He
Yeah.
was the executive producer the first 2 seasons, then he died. Or was like really sick or whatever. But he was the one, in all honesty, those were 2 of the worst seasons. But regardless, he took it to that place, to that tone, that level of the way the characters behave. Most of them, pretty much all of them, are highly, high class people. They're not vulgar people. And occasionally a character would come in like that, and they would be the out of place one. It wouldn't be the cast that's like that, or the crew. Because it's supposed to be a professional setting. This is supposed to be a job for a career for these people.
that's right.
They're not going to be very vulgar in this version of the world, basically.
Well,
Sure.
you see, I can see them doing a more gritty, a more gritty setting than like the Starship, right?
Yeah.
Say you have operatives that are working in the Orion Syndicate to take them down
Sure.
or whatever. Then maybe you could do that, or something with. I know they did Section 31 stuff in this and other things, but I mean,
Discovery, particularly, yeah.
yeah, you could do that where they're in the down and dirty deep of different places. I mean, even on say Ferenginar or something like that, I could see that maybe, but like throwing around the F word between an admiral and Captain Picard,
Ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous.
it's just like what?
Yeah.
What?
Picard would never do that towards an admiral. Like, that's just period.
Well, no,
That's
he
not
didn't do
who
it.
he
What
was.
did she
swore
say?
to him.
Sheer fucking hubris.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what my point is Picard wouldn't even tolerate that from like he would be disgusted that an admiral talked to him like that,
Yeah.
and he would never even consider speaking to an admiral in that way, nor would he expect them to speak to him like that, because it's just not. You can go watch all the old stuff, and even Deep Space Nine, which was the grittier the grittier show because they had a lot of non-Starfleet people as the cast. Even they got in line pretty quickly with the decorum that was required of people working with Starfleet.
That's
It
right.
was obvious. Like, it didn't have to be stated. The way the captains and the commanders and the officers carried themselves is how they expected everybody else to do it.
Yeah, but Picard was the fan, and everybody else was these, activists talking down to the fans.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
Picard was.
That's right. It was ridiculous. It was a true train wreck. I mean, an absolute disaster. But Eric beat me to it, you bastard. But he's talking about the episode there where they actually go back in time, which they do that many times, where Kirk actually has to explain to Spock, yes, we used to use these kind of foul, vulgar language, but we've gone beyond that. So it's
Right.
already part of canon, right? But whatever. You do you, I guess. But anyway, I'm going to move on now. So
Look at
here,
what Dillard's working on over here, though. This thing's beautiful.
let me.
I'm watching. I have been distracted watching Dillard. It's almost sexual how he just.
I mean, Dillard might be a prick, but he's a fantastic artist. Look at this.
John,
Mhm.
John is an amazing artist. I've been praising his amazingness since the beginning. And that Jesus, John, what the
Hey
hell?
guys, what's up?
That is really beautiful, dude. And I'm going to make you full screen here for a minute because I need to get off of the mic here for a couple of minutes.
Oh,
He just came here to show off. Look at him.
Well, dude, show off because that is beautiful.
I can't work because my air compressor's a little loud. You hear it?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah. But the thing is, I've said I've loved a lot of stuff that John does, but this right here, which came out of a little bit of comedic, how it came out of Rick Piper's thing, but this is viable shit, dude. I love the story, I love the idea, I love the art. I think it's really cool. You guys talk about it. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, that's beautiful right there. That's something I would hang on my wall. That's
Yeah, this
gorgeous.
guy's he's in the middle of. They're trying to arrest him
Mm-hmm.
for just doing what he was trying to do. You know.
What would they arrest him for?
it's very nice, but it needs more boobs.
It does, but the interior has lots of boobs.
The boobs are coming.
Yeah.
There will be boobs.
They will
But
be.
I really want because this is going to be the cover.
I
So
just want to know why you're airbrushing over an Alex Ross painting. I just not. Why are you doing that?
Alex Ross is a hack. That's why.
Oh.
No, but the thing is, this is going to be the cover, so I want it to be just about the buck. He's missing a tooth here. I don't know if you can tell. It's going to be on the hood of the car here.
Mhm.
But he's enjoying himself. He's in a brawl. He caused this big old ruckus here in the middle of Winnipeg, and they're trying to arrest him, but he's just having a good old time. And
I see. It's a commentary on police brutality. It's very
sure.
current.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
think
didn't
it's
just want to
just
draw.
John got drunk and drew some stuff.
It's great. And then I got my boy Rick Piper right here, and he's trying to arrest and then I got my boy Muttman, and he's trying to arrest him too.
Is that Shabby one to the right from Muttman? It looks
yeah,
like him.
Yeah, that's Shabby and that's Cat.
Is there somebody
my
eating
God.
like a fricasseed kiwi, on like a shish
No, I tried
kebab?
to get a hold of Booster. I wanted him to be on the cover, but I couldn't get a hold of him. So what are you gonna do?
Oh man. Oh.
That is really beautiful. That is fantastic.
It'll be great because I'm gonna try to actually do that Salvador Dali technique where he puts the paint and then actually gets a flame and bubbles it and burns it, so it ends up being super glossy.
Are you gonna have a melting clock?
And it's gonna be it's gonna be all of the blood coming out of his mouth and a little pool and his tooth like sitting right in the middle of it.
So you're gonna do that at the end? What if it ruins the rest of the art there?
I just paint a different one.
I'll just do it again.
I'll just do it again. I'm that good. I'll just do it again.
Well, I mean, I did it once already, I can't get all hung up on the painting. Do another one, whatever. What else am I gonna do?
John, how long have you been an artist? Like, how long has this been something serious that you're doing?
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
3 years.
Wow,
Oh my god.
that's
I've
impressive.
I've been doodling my whole life.
So you're telling me in just 3 years I can get this good from where I am now? What an inspiration you are to me.
Well, you could get 3 years better.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Don't worry,
3 years ago is the first time I actually put a pen on a piece of paper trying to make a sequential page. You know what I mean?
Oh wait, shit!
What did you do before that?
I've been doing the Emma's Paint thing for like 2 years. So 1 year to go, then I'm here, baby.
Now, what did you say about before that?
Yeah, I said, what did you do before that?
Oh, it just worked. I always liked drawing, but it was always a side thing, you know. But now I'm actually like trying to take it serious and get really better.
Okay.
Super
Well,
serial.
I would say in 3 years. Well, I don't know. Do you have any piece from 3 years ago we could look at?
Not that I want to show you. Well, no, I could put something up, but yeah, it's no good. But I've done like portraits and stuff, but I never actually did like.
Here's the real question: are you keeping that, or are you gonna sell that?
Oh, this is gonna be a tier.
Oh my! Oh my!
Either that, or I'll try to sell it. Like, I don't know, if
So
somebody's
what is it?
interested.
So what would that? How much would that be? What is that?
If I put it up on a tier, I'm gonna put it up for 2,000.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a painting. That
That's
should
it.
go for more.
yeah, that's a little out of my price range.
I'm not trying to
Only a
sell
little.
to bums with no jobs.
I'm just saying, stimulus
Hey,
is coming. Everybody's got 2,000.
You're over there
except
stealing potatoes, and you know.
Hey, I have a job. They're just not calling me in.
Are you sure they just don't want you anymore?
I think so. I think they just humored me. I mean, the last 3 times they called me in, right? I walked in and they, right, pretty much right away, or just had me sit there. I literally one time came in and sat there for about 8 hours. They had nothing for me, but they kept telling me something's gonna be coming up. I think they were fucking with me. They're like, look at this fucking retard. He'll come in for any reason.
Just hang on. Are those all white cops? Yeah, it's Canada. Of course, there's all white.
Yes. Oh, Canada Mounties. John, my wife has a question for you, if you would indulge her. She would
Are you
like.
single?
Wow. I have a dog who has a has
Six
an
and 6 3/4.
oh, there you go. No problems there.
What happened?
Anyway, the question is this, John. She would like to know, because I have it on the big screen here on the side, and she was wowed by it, just like all of us are. She would like to know how long it took you to get to where you are with this picture.
I'm working and like putting all the hours together. This is about the 26th hour.
Wow. Hey, baby. 26 hours. Yeah. Well, it's really good. And now I'm assuming this is a cover or something like that.
Yeah, this is going to be the cover to Buckler Ascendancy, the graphic novel.
You know, now, how this project, you haven't launched it yet, right? I know we talked about and we looked at the upcoming page, but it hasn't been launched, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to launch until I get about 3/4 of the way done with the actual interior pages.
That makes sense. I really, and I mean this, John, I really hope this project does well, dude, because the art is good, of course. That's obvious, but I like the concept of it. I really think it's a very viable character. We're taking the villain's journey. Right? I just really think it's cool. And the thing is, it came out of you just trying to help Rick Piper. I mean, I just love I love everything about it.
Oh, thank you, Chester.
Yeah, no,
I love you too.
While you were away, Chester, I asked him how long he's been seriously an artist, like for real, like he's really into it. Like he said, he's only been doing this about 3 years. Seriously,
yeah.
that is an impressive amount. That is an impressive piece right there for somebody who's only been seriously working at it for 3 years.
Oh, John's badass. The thing with it is, we all joke around and we goof off and we're vulgar and all those kind of things like that. But actually, the first time I met John, I can't remember what channel it was on, but he was just doing some art. And my first interaction with him was actually asking questions about how they were actually art questions. and he sat down and he explained them very clearly to me. I was kind of shocked later because I didn't really understand what John Dillard is. Now I do, but
Very philosophical question. What
Yeah.
is John Dillard?
yeah.
Chester, do you want do you need a hotel and a little bit of time?
No, I'm all
alone
right.
with
I'm all
God?
right. I got my baby right here next to me. She just brought me some coffee. Thanks, baby.
I know she's a very talented woman. I don't think she's this good of an artist, though.
No, she's not, but she's got other talents, Thundero. Yoga pants are involved. But all
I like
right, now I'm getting more from the background there. I'm going to get hit with something in a second. But anyway, it looks great, John. So let me go over here and let me go back to our stories, though. Because I do have a couple of stories I want to get done before we get out of here today. Now, this is one of them, and I got a couple of stories. So I'll just let Booster read the title, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll just let Booster read these Japanese names. You did this on purpose, you dickhead. Alright, okay, let me just... the very first word, Jesus. Kinokoniya! Sydney removes various manga, including Goblin Slayer and Sword Art Online, following complaints of child pornography by Australian legislator?
Yeah. Well, now,
What?
to be fair, Australia is very strict with these kind of things. They always have been. Australia is kind of a whingy country. It just is what it is. The fact that Goblin Slayer or Sword Art Online are anything close to pornography is funny. They could have chosen other stuff that is closer to it, because unlike a lot of Japanese manga or anime, which is probably really what it's coming to ultimately, they tend to take place in high school, right? It's the Asian thing. It's the child's journey, the child hero. It's a very Asian concept, right? But Goblin Slayer and Sword Art Online are actually adult people doing it, and that's a rarity here in Japan. But the point I want to bring up with this really is this. When I was younger, running around doing my music stuff. Now, I wasn't the wildest person in the world, but I certainly had my fair share, right? I had fun, goofing off. Groupies are a thing, yeah. And I consider myself to be a little bit wild, right? And then I came to Japan, and I realized that I'm actually a bit of a prude in comparison. It's funny because the thing is, the Japanese just don't get it. They don't understand. They're bewildered by Western concepts. Everyone likes tits. What's the problem? And the women understand. Well, men like that. It's no problem whatsoever. They have no problems with it at all. And of course, I don't know how you're calling that a child. Those tits would knock your ass out. That's a freaking weapon, right? So
what a way to go!
What a way to go, right? But I'm just saying,
and that woman in an anime is probably considered nearly flat-chested.
right? In
By
some
anime
of them, right?
standards.
In some of them. But I do understand there's a lot of nubile. There's always the nubile character. I understand that there is the youthfulness to it, and like I said, it comes from the child hero type of thing. But the Japanese just don't get it, and they also don't give a shit. Is when it comes right down to it. So, and what we've seen from all this pushing that's been going on the past few years, but particularly the past year and a half, I say, what Japan is doing is they're not responding by saying, "Okay, we'll capitulate." What they're doing is like, "Well, f you, we'll just do it for ourselves." And we've seen that in video games, we've seen that in manga, anime, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just one of two articles I wanted to cover, but that's my point I wanted to put forward is this is ridiculously stupid, and the Japanese they really don't get it. They don't understand what the deal is. Don't you like titties?
Well, we're run
I
by a bunch
do.
of like identity-seeking iconoclasts that want to control and destroy everything.
Yeah.
Because it's like Paul Atreides in Dune. He says those who can destroy it control it, right? So that's what they want. They want to be able to destroy it. Because if they can destroy it for you, then they control it for you. Then they can tell you what to do. They don't want to I mean, everybody thinks this is like, this is like a zero-sum game. I mean, they don't want to give you anything. They want you to bow down, do exactly what they say, and they will tell you what you want. That's what they want.
Yeah, no, I guess especially Australia. Yeah, go ahead, dude.
I believe in boobs.
So do I. I'm the problem is I've been focusing on those very large ones sitting over here, the blonde girl, and that hand's wonky, John. You see that hand, John? That's not right.
Isn't that like his sister in that show?
I don't know. I haven't really watched it, but my kids like it. My kids like. But I watch Goblin Slayer. My kids like Sword Art Online, and I thought Goblin Slayer.
Oh yeah, that hand is like a foot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonky, dude. Mm-hmm. It's very wonky. I love Goblin Slayer though. That is the most D&D I have ever seen from any show. I think.
Dude, I just watched this anime called Food Wars. It's on Netflix, and somebody told me, well, it's basically just pornography. But I watched it. This show is effing brilliant, dude. It's like remember that movie Ratatouille? They tried to do it but failed badly, to show the emotions that come with eating food. But this particular anime, like this guy, they chop it up. I don't know if you ever seen the anime Death Note, where you couldn't figure out how they would make writing names in a notebook exciting and thrilling, but they did. And it's the same way. The guy starts cooking, and it's amazing. And when the people finally taste his food, like sometimes
it's a sexual experience.
Clothes just burst off of them,
Yeah. Well,
it's so good. Like it shows like the guy fighting. It shows somebody like she makes like a duck pate, and it breaks into like this cinematic opera, and the guy's wearing a duck hat instead of the Phantom of the Opera mask. It's amazing.
Right. Well, the thing that's going on here in Japan, John, is they are doing something that the West has seemingly forgot. They're being creative.
Yeah, it's so creative. It was great.
Yeah, they're trying to come up with new ideas, and that's because once they don't have any of this social culture war that's going on in the West, and the comic book market here in Japan is huge. It's mammoth, and it's cutthroat. There's so much new stuff coming at you. They're all fighting for space that they have to be creative. It's a wonderful environment for creativity. It's a great thing, actually. And the West has lost this, and we've lost it because of the remake culture and all the sensitivity. We have to worry about all these little things. Screw that, dude. Push the boundaries and shock people. How in the hell do these damn lefty hippies go from trying to shock the world to becoming the prudish, puritanical, Catholic Church ladies? What happened? I mean, really, what happened, dude? I don't get it, but whatever.
Well, they're fetishizing ugliness because it's the whole it's the ideal of postmodernism, removing the extremes. There is no ugly, there is no pretty. They want everybody to be in between. So how do you do that? You do it like this.
Transgenders.
And then they tell you, like, you know what? That, like, you're not being body positive. You should like that 300-pound woman.
They're not going to win that argument, dude. They're really not.
Yeah.
But I don't wanna.
I don't wanna. Exactly, John. I don't wanna. I like a fit lady. I like me some fit thighs and legs and buttock. But anyway, let's move on to the second story, because this one I think is viable. Now, here we go. Go ahead, Booster.
Oh, Japanese VR dev argues proper Japanese localization more important than portraying country properly.
Okay. Now I understand what Kenji is saying here. I get his point, but in a way he's a little bit wrong as well. But this is what this is talking about is we know that Last of Us 2 came out and it was an absolute disaster because it was not because it was poorly written. It sounds like it's very well written, actually. And the graphics are amazing, but it was mean-spirited and hopeless. Right?
It was a very ugly game.
Well, in
Very
that
ugly.
way, in its soul, it was ugly, and they treated the fans and the public so badly. It was probably one of the best examples of how not to treat your fan base. And it took a huge amount of backlash, as it should, and it failed because of that. I mean, it's made some money, but it didn't make anywhere near what they wanted, and it won't because people are just sick of the shit, right? Whereas Ghost of Tsushima came out, and it's a freaking blockbuster because it's gorgeous game, it's beautiful Jedi looking thing, and people are loving it. It's great gameplay. Where I'm hearing nothing but positive things come out of this game, and even from the
Critics hate it.
and the critics hate it, desperately hate it. So we talk about this Western backlash, but it doesn't affect the purse though, because in the end, this game is making a lot of money, as it should, because it's a freaking masterpiece. Now I'm sure that it's not perfect, but it's a really, really well done, beautifully orchestrated game that does exactly what it wants. Now, what Kenji here is saying though is kind of interesting, because what he's saying is very, very true. The Japanese don't really care if it looks Japanese. To be fair, this game does look. I actually showed it to my wife, and she was like, "Wow, that actually looks like Japan." Because they don't complain about it; they just kind of sigh. Because every damn movie and all this stuff that comes out about Japan that's not made in Japan, it doesn't look like Japanese culture at all. It looks like China. Like think of what was the name of that? Memoirs of a Geisha or The Last Samurai. It just looks Chinese. It doesn't look Japanese at all. And Western people have no clue. But the Japanese like, whatever, they're over it, right? But he's saying the Japanese don't really care about that. What they care more about is something that is translated properly into Japanese. And he says that a lot of people, it seems in the West, could just give a shit about Japan, and they translate their game so poorly into Japanese. It's not well done, and I can attest to this personally, because going to a movie and watching the translations and stuff that come out on the big screen, they're wrong, dude. They're just wrong. They're not only are they translating things improperly, they're not catching the spirit of it at all. So of course that means those people aren't doing their job well, and that's what he's complaining about in this. He's saying, well, F you, because you guys don't give a shit about us anyway. You show this all the time when you translate your Western game and try to sell it here in Japan, and we have to deal with your suboptimal translation and optimized product. So it's like F you with both fingers is what Kenji is saying, and he's right. He's right. And the other thing on it, I don't agree. I think that Ghost of Tsushima looks very Japanese. It's Jidai Geki is what it is, and that's where the word Jedi comes from. By the way, Jidai Geki is the samurai movie Kurosawa style thing. It's a genre here in Japan. But that's what this whole article is about. And so I just thought it was interesting that I saw two articles in a row here that are covering how Japan is taking stuff and how people are bashing Japan when Japan's doing nothing but being creative and trying to be out there and hustle and do what you're supposed to do. That's my take.
I just hope Sucker Punch are extremely successful in this game, because I want them to become a huge developer, right? They created some of my absolute favorite games, which is the Infamous series, if you know about that.
I love Infamous, dude, yeah.
Yep. And it's been quite a while since they've made a game, right? Their last game was Infamous Second Son, which was fairly underwhelming for me, sadly.
It was.
They didn't mention the morality of that game. The first one, they just sort of went for a pure, like it was like a story. Yeah. And that worked really well. Yeah. Like the evolution of the character and the kind of hero's journey. And then the second one, they were like, is he a hero or is he a villain or is he this?
Right.
Or that,
Yeah.
And it was the first one was into that too, but the second was like a much more. And it
It kind of wasted its morality system, if I'm honest. Right? It kind of went like, do you want to save these puppies or do you want to burn these nuns? It's up to you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, no,
it's a pretty silly black and white morality system.
it was.
Yeah, it was
Although
sort
I
of
did like the neon girl in that. It was pretty cool. But no,
Hmm.
the first Infamous, not only was it just a great story, it was fun. The gameplay was freaking intense, dude. It was badass. I love that over the
Yeah.
shoulder view. It was one of the best superhero games you could ever play. And I was like, why isn't Marvel doing this?
your developing powers were really cool.
It
Like
was
as they
very
develop
cool. Yeah.
them out, you know, you're like, oh, I can do that. Cool, you know, and it felt natural, organic.
Yeah,
You
it was
know,
really
instead
good.
of
So,
a lot of games, they just like throw you into a situation. Like I think, like the problem, among others, with The Last of Us 2 is that it didn't feel like an organic solution. It felt like it was being forced upon you. You know, and when why are things forced upon you? Well,
Yeah.
normally if it's by people like that, it's because they're trying to teach you something, and that gets
Sure.
annoying.
It is annoying, and but the thing with Last of Us 2, it goes a step beyond that, Doc. It was mean spirited, dude. Straight up mean spirited, and that's one I think a lot of the pushback is coming from. But anyway, I just kind of liked what Kenji had to say here. It's rare to see Japanese lose their shit, and he did. That I mean, and I don't know if you guys understand that. That is a Japanese losing his shit right there. I know it doesn't seem so, but it is. and
that's him going, I am very angry.
yes, it is what it is. But the reason why we haven't seen anything from Sucker Punch is because they've spent freaking I don't know how long creating this absolutely stunning looking game, dude. That's why.
Mhm.
They've been busting their butt over there trying to create this a masterpiece, and I personally think they succeeded. Now, I've heard a few negative, gameplay comments and a few here or there, but even the people who made those, well, I didn't like this or that. Overall, they said this is one of the most beautiful, amazing things I've ever seen. So good on Sucker Punch for putting the time in, and once again, kind of a CD Project Red esque, where we're going to take the time, we're going to put it in, and we're going to earn your money, and that's a
Mhm.
good thing, right?
Absolutely. The only negative comment I've seen, and a viable negative comment, not not a negative comment from the usual whiners, right?
Right.
Is that it can get fairly repetitive, and I suppose that's fairly subjective as to whether or not that repetitiveness is something that bothers you, or if that's a form of repetitiveness that will continue to grasp your attention.
Yeah. No, and it's a video game. What are you going to do, right?
Mm.
But
Yeah,
but the replayability in this game is amazing, and we haven't got to that point yet where the reviews are coming in from that because people are just playing it through and doing their their spiel on YouTube and stuff, Twitch, what have you.
Mm.
But keep in mind you can replay this game back in full Japanese with subtitles on the bottom in black and white. You could play back the game in English in black and white with some alterations like an old Kurosawa movie. There are several replayable aspects to the game that I think are going to make this thing, possibly legendary. And we'll see what happens with it when the reviewers start coming. Because I personally, I haven't played the game all the way through either. So I mean, and I know some reviewers have, but I don't have the time to do that. But I'm barely into the game. But nevertheless, it's amazing, amazing thing. It's gorgeous. Like I said, my wife looked at it and she was shocked at how good it was. But she's a mega boomer though. She makes me look like freaking Bill Gates. But anyway. Yeah, that's what I want to
so
say.
romantic.
So romantic, yeah. Thundera, did you have anything you wanted to add to any of this, dude? I know you're sitting there,
No,
nerds.
I just wish my PlayStation would work because it works. It works for everything but playing games. It overheats. I need to take it apart and clean it probably.
We can play it on
So I
PC,
could
dude.
actually so I could play Ghost of Tsushima.
You don't need a
No, it's not
console.
on
You can
PC.
play it on PC.
It's not on PC. It's only it's PlayStation.
It's a PS4 game, bro. Exclusive.
Are you sure?
I'm very sure it's Sucker Punch is a Sony company.
I thought for sure. I thought for sure I heard it was on PC too, but I don't know. I don't know. It's console over here as well, but I thought it was on PC too. It will be eventually, I imagine. But so I guess you have to just buy a new one, dude.
That
Those
that I'm
500
still not
bucks.
sure about
No,
because a
there's
lot
no.
of PS4 games have been coming to PC, right? But with Sucker Punch game, I don't know.
Hmm.
Like I said,
There's
a
no
Sony
reason
company.
to. PS5's coming out. I'll just buy one of
Mm.
those and play it on that.
Well, you know the
Mhm.
ironic thing though is Sony, with The Last of Us 2, got in on blocking people, shutting channels down. They were absolute asses because we know they're being run out of Anaheim or Pasadena or something like that, and the Japanese aren't stepping in to shut it down, unfortunately. But here we have Sucker Punch. And so it's because they're very attached to Sony as well, as Booster just mentioned. So it's strange that these two games are kind of banging heads. And the only reason they are is because the SJWs are pissed off that Last of Us 2 and their transgender lesbian game wasn't accepted by everybody, which is, I'm fine with it. You do what you want to do and you enjoy the game, but don't complain that your market's not there. That's not our fault. That's your fault, right? And they're upset that this one is doing so well, which is funny because the Ghost of Tsushima has no politics at all in it. It's just a straight up game, a video game, right? It's an homage to the old samurai cinema is what it is. It's such a strange thing to pick a fight with because it doesn't. There's no juxtaposition here with Last of Us 2 at all. They're just whinging is what they're doing. But
Yes.
anyway, yes, yes. All right. Well, let me see here. I'm going to stick it on Japan before I go to another comment, which I thought was hilarious. So, Booster.
No, CGI animated semi-rabbit, the Usagi Chronicles, coming to
Usagi.
Netflix.
Usagi.
Usagi
Yeah.
Chronicles is
Well,
coming to Netflix.
now I'm not a big fan of the CG stuff, although sometimes they do pull it off. But dude, I mean, Usagi Yojimbo, come on now. Come on now. That could be a cool thing. Netflix might have my attention, but then again, Netflix has my attention. I'm really concerned about them doing this right because this should be Samurai Jack-esque, is what it should be. It should be in that kind
Mhm.
of feel, that kind of vein. It should be like Ghost of Tsushima in a way. It should feel like the Jidai Geki stuff is what it should feel like. But Netflix is somehow involved with it, and that worries me. But what do you guys think about Usagi Yojimbo TV series or Netflix series?
I'm down as long as they don't fuck it up.
I don't think about Netflix at all because they're a shit show.
They are recently for sure, but I
I
mean,
haven't actually read these comics, I'm afraid.
oh, you should read them. They're great, dude. Really well done. Yeah.
I'll check them out.
It's an adult comic in the way an adult comic should be. A lot of people these days they misunderstand adult and they quantify that as simply TNA, sex,
Hmm.
and that's not what an adult subject matter is at all, right? And this deals with things in an adult manner without any TNA that I can recall. But I loved it. I thought Usagi Jimbo was great. I mean, I haven't read it in forever, but I loved it. You should check it out. Anyway, I just wanted to throw this up because it connected with the other Japanese stuff. And every now and then Netflix perks my interest, but it's rare. Anything else on this? No?
Nope.
Sweet. Let's move into the next subject line here. Booster.
Report: Assassin's Creed Odyssey initially featured Cassandra as sole protagonist, Alexios included because women don't sell.
Well,
Oh,
and,
that's not 100% true, to be honest.
Not
But
in video games, it's not.
yeah, it's not, and that's the question I wanted to be raised from the headline. Now, there's a lot more going on with Ubisoft. There's Me Too stuff being accused of them. There's women that are complaining of the boys' club and all that kind of stuff. They're freaking French. Are you shocked? But it is interesting conversation because Ubisoft is one of the most virtue signaling SJW game developer out there, right? But these accusations are still coming at them, which once again proves the left eats itself all the time. But I don't want to get into that conversation. I want to talk about this idea that women don't sell. I agree with you, Booster. I don't think that's true, especially in video games.
Yeah. Especially in video games. So the obvious thing to go straight to is Tomb Raider, right? You know, that's just one example. That's a long-running series. But all right, how about a more recent example then of a new IP? Was it Horizon Dawn Zero? Was it Dawn Horizon Zero? Fuck, I always mix it up. It's like Horizon Dawn Zero or
Horizon
something,
Zero
right?
Dawn, yes.
Zero Dawn. Thank you. I fuck it up every time because I feel like no matter which way I arrange those three words, I get the title correct. That title sucks. I don't like it, but that was a mega hit though, and that starred a sole female protagonist that you couldn't, choose between male or whatever. I didn't hear a fuss out of that. I didn't hear anyone go, "I'd buy this game, but I don't want to play it as a chick." That's so SJW.
You know
No
why?
one says that.
You know why? Because one had great gameplay. It was a beautiful game, and the character was just doing her thing. There was no politics in it. There was no nonsense in it. She fought like a woman would fight, so it was believable. It was just a story that had a female lead, just like the original Tomb Raiders and other examples. I can give you more, Booster. I'm an MMO player. That's what I play mainly, and city builders and things like that. But when you're playing an MMO, you see a lot of dudes playing chicks. Why? Because you're running around for hours and hours and hours doing this mission, collecting this, doing that. Day after day. I'd much rather look at a female ass bouncing around in front of me than a male one.
Very classic line.
It's true though,
Mhm.
right? So in video games, a lot of females take the lead, and it's interesting for me because one of the things that's really turned my nose up to, say, Netflix or just modern TV and movies in general is take a moment sometime to go to Netflix or something like that and look at over the past decade or more how many shows are female led. You will see,
plenty.
that it's the vast majority. It's not a major, a simple majority. It's a major majority of all shows. Police procedurals. They can't do without a woman now. Super heroic badass fighters. It's got to be a woman. Men can't do that anymore. Et cetera, et cetera. In the cinema, in the TV shows, particularly, it's all women all the time. Suck it up, Buttercup. Is what's been going on for a long time, and it's tiresome, right? But video games are a different thing. Any of you guys want to kind of add your 2 cents? I know Booster and I are the main video game guys here, but anyway.
I have another example, right? Last of Us 2, right?
Yeah.
The reason that failed and the reason I wasn't interested in it wasn't because it was of a female lead. I was clamoring to play as Ellie.
Yeah,
I was excited. Ellie's growing up. She's going to take the place of Joel, right? Let's go. Let's play Last of Us 2. And then the lease came out, and I went, nope.
Yeah. And it's not because of the female lead. I mean, the lesbian thing in it is boorish, to be fair. But the real thing that killed that game is you took the hero of the first game, one of the more beloved video game characters that's nameable, Joel. How many other characters can you name in video games? I mean, the average person, right? And they took him, they were mean about it, they murdered him, and then they forced you to play his murderer for a while to try to sympathize you to her or it.
I feel that's one of the worst postmodernism aspects is they take a character that is beloved, right, and they try to make you question your own memories of that character. That is one of the worst things you can do. That's why Last Jedi is so hated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't just take a character that everyone loves and go, maybe he's not so great. Did you think about this?
No.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Here's
idea.
The real reason they didn't run with Cassandra. They can talk about because women don't sell all they want. That's not true. It's never been true, especially not in video games. The real reason they didn't go with Cassandra is because so many people have politicized just having a female lead.
Yep.
That they knew it would be perceived as that.
Yep. And it was.
So they didn't want to deal with it. And it still was. Even just doing the two things, because it had always been a male protagonist, it was still seen that way. Because they've made their own bed and they don't like laying in it. So what they should have done is just went with Cassandra and just dealt with it, and I think it would have been fine. Odyssey's a great game, and Cassandra's she's a great voice actor. She does a great job.
Is a much better protagonist, and the guy who played Alexios does a much better job as the antagonist. He is I remember I played as Alexios my first run, right, and he was very middling, and his voice actor, he'd occasionally do things like Phoebe. He just sounded ridiculous.
And I think they did that intentionally, to be honest with you. But
I don't think so.
I think so.
I just think he had poor voice direction. No, that's grasping a straw. That's silliness.
Maybe.
But when you see him as the antagonist, he was really good. He's very intimidating. He just raw energy.
Yeah. Well, and another thing it took that I think took some people out a little bit too is about where they placed it. They could have been like the new Valhalla. Having female warriors in that makes perfect sense because it's cultural. We all know that. The shield maiden and the queens that have led armies and stuff like that. But in ancient Greece, no, not at all. Actually, I think they would probably imprison or hang a woman who would even think to don armor. I mean, that's how serious they were about that stuff. So it's a little bit. It takes you a little bit out of it, but it is interesting.
In this case, would it still be the thing? She was was it a Nistios, right? She was an assassin for hire. She didn't really align with anyone. Would that still be a thing?
Well, if she was playing a female assassin as the historical female assassins are, it would have been fine because the average female assassin throughout history, Mata Hari comes to mind immediately. Madame Butterfly. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's a little bit different, but Mata Hari comes to mind. Is they do their business in the bedroom, right? And there have been some very successful female assassins and spies throughout history that have operated like that. I'm just saying that it does take you out a little bit, but I don't really care about that. Brandon makes a very good point here. Chun-Li has been selling Street Fighter for 30 years. That's right. Don't forget Cammy.
That's shit.
How dare you? Right? But no, I mean, of course, there's a lot of female characters who like. It's not the point. They're not political. They're just a character, right?
Yeah.
And it makes sense in China too, because China has never had a great divide between the sexes in that regard. So
the worst part about Cassandra specifically, and besides maybe some, I guess you could say some of the gender stuff, there's no real politics in Odyssey like that at all. Like there's none of it. Yeah, there's like you can be gay or whatever, but it's ancient Greece. There's a lot of gay people running around.
A lot of it, yeah.
Yeah, so they didn't have if they were going to make a political statement, they would have had the pedophilia up in front, and they never even hinted at. But there's none of that going on. Odyssey is pretty much apolitical. I've played through it like 3 different times. It's just a good game. It plays like a great game. I think they would have been fine, but because we live in the times that we live in, where the left has demanded everything be politicized constantly, they got scared. That's what it is. They're going to try and pretend like we're all sexists and misogynists, so that's why they couldn't do it. No, the reality is they didn't want to deal with the flack of the perception. That's all it is.
But and I get them putting Alexio in to solve that, and I'm going to get to the point that attaches to Valhalla in a second. But I didn't even hear much pushback against the game at all. Anyway, right? I don't recall anybody saying, "Well, we got to play as a woman." I didn't hear any of that actually. I heard SJWs complaining about stuff, but I didn't hear actually anyone complaining to give them fodder. They just automatically jumped on it, which is what they do. But here's the interesting thing. The big complaint I did hear of the SGWs was the men are only playing Alexio. This is wrong. It's just like telling you that if you don't want to have sex with a transgender, you're homophobic. Well, yeah, okay, I am. Sign me up, right? It's the same thinking, right?
One of the main reasons, I guarantee you, why people were playing Alexios more is because, well, one, he's the guy and they're guys, but 2, there's a lot of sex in this game. You can have sex with a lot of people, and they're straight. They don't want to have gay sex. They're not like Booster, who fantasizes about gay sex.
True. Henry Cavill.
Straight men,
the bomb.
They just don't think that way.
Yeah, no, it's exactly true. But because of that, in Valhalla, what they've done, and we don't have a finished game yet. They've tried to fix it by you have to play the male guy and you have to play the big box female character as well. They're forcing you. Now, what I understand is you can actually create these characters to look whatever you want, and you can actually take what's supposed to be the female character. You can't change her name, but you can make her male. All right, but they're trying to force it on you this time with Valhalla because the SJW screamed and yelled that people weren't playing Cassandra, which I don't even think is completely true. I think a lot of people did exactly what you two just said. You played through both. So
Also, I would just like to point out that I don't specifically just have gay sex when I play video games. I shag everything when the option is given to me.
it's fair. That's fair enough. Fair enough.
Men and women alike. I am a conqueror.
Yes, but
In video
Booster, you
games.
did mention, like when you first came in, something about this
With my penis.
with your penis. That this new show you're doing is you're playing through some kind of choose your own adventure training game.
Yes, and I am having sex with all of them
Sweet.
in a video game.
In a video game. All right, cool. Have fun. Yeah, I thought you said it was choose your own adventure. It's a video. It's a video game version of that.
Well, yeah, it's a visual novel, right?
That doesn't help me, dude.
You know, let's just get past it. He's not going to get this.
Fine. Anyway, enjoy yourself. And the last story of the day.
Ooh, DC Comics and don't make me relive this, Chester. I was just done with this yesterday. DC Comics and Batman artist, comic legend Neil Adams tells white people, try not to be white in your heads. Yes, I saw this. It was very disappointing.
Now, what does this even mean, Neil? I mean, what do you mean?
He's an insane old man.
Yeah, but I mean,
Deeply insane.
Thundero, help me understand. What do you mean, try not to be white in your head? I'm not white in my head. I'm American in my head, dumbass.
How would he know he's Jewish?
Well, they're white when it's convenient. I guess they're white.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
but no, seriously, I'm not white in my head. My culture is American. I'm American in my head.
Well, you need to quit colonizing Japan, Chester. All right, you stop it right now.
Fine. Yeah. Well,
it's very disappointing because this guy is a comic book legend. This is the guy who mentored Frank Miller. All right.
Yeah, no, it's a big time name, and I just don't understand. Maybe he's lost his mind, but this little quip here on the Twitter is what got me most. Go ahead and read that, Booster.
You must be smarter than that. Is that the part you wanted, or
no? I mean, start from the beginning because it's worse than the freaking headline.
It's all in capitals. He's like a preacher. White brothers and sisters, try not to be white in your heads. Please try. You must be smarter than that.
Once again, is Slick still in here? Is John still in here?
I'm here. I'm just listening to you guys palaver.
Dude, what the hell does it mean to be white in your head? Explain this to me.
White? I can tell you.
Well, go ahead, John. Tell us.
What does
Let
it mean?
the Mexican explain.
Yeah, let the Mexican explain what it means to be white.
I'm gonna tell you what it means to be white. You walk around not getting stuff. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like you read an article like this, or you read a little tweet like this, and you're like, I don't get it. Yeah. That's what it means to be white.
So basically, lost and confused, dazed and confused. All right.
Yeah.
So, I'm Matthew McConaughey.
Sweet.
Exactly.
I'd take that for $1. But Donald Trump has made me ashamed to be white. Why? He's orange anyway, and made me prefer to identify with whatever amount of me is otherwise. One day, I hope to be less ashamed. Not now. Well, first of all, what are you ashamed about with Trump? Why don't you quantify your statement? Thundero, why the hell don't they ever quantify these statements? They say shit, and they never back it up. What the hell is going on with these people?
Because you're just supposed to know. How could you? It's so obvious.
Google's right there, Chester. You bigot. Educate thyself.
Uh-huh.
It's because You want me to break it down? Mr. Neil Adams is barely a Mr. cognitively. He's a woman, and he's arguing like a woman. You know when you get in an argument with your wife and she gets mad because you don't know why she's mad, and she won't tell you because you're just supposed to know. Exact same thing.
So am I supposed to solve this problem the same way I solved that one by rubbing her on her ass and giving her a kiss? I mean,
it might help because
Exactly.
I think
You're
I think the
probably
old
going
guy.
to have to butt fuck Neil Adams. To make it
all
behave.
right, I'll take one for
Yeah.
the team, guys. Damn.
It's up to you, buddy. You have to save comics.
It's crazy. New York Times, you know in your heart that Donald Trump is stupid, is he? But he's stupid like Hitler or a junkyard dog, huh? Once again, the Hitler reference. He is practicing sending stormtroopers into various cities. Is he?
Good.
He doesn't want mail-in voters. Who does? So who does he present at the head of the post office? And to do what? What? Dude, get some cohesion, dude. You stupid monkeys.
You stupid monkeys!
Go ahead. Go ahead. Take it, dude. Yeah.
You stupid monkeys! Look at the courts! Look at the Justice Department! Trump is chewing his leg off every possible trap you have for him. And we are too stupid to know. Don't answer your door at night.
Okay, well, first of all, the opposite is true, right? The actual literal opposite is true. We're having fun here. Where there's a conversation between the New York Times and Neil Adams, Thundero. We're listening. Go ahead, Booster.
This last weekend, Donald Trump said, when questioned that Fauci made many mistakes along the way, I leapt from my chair and cried out, "How dare you!" He never made any mistakes. He gave us science.
Wow, dude.
You took the science, twisted it, and made.
What? And made something.
And made.
That's
made. What he says.
But no, he didn't. He actually praised Fauci. He said, "There's no problem between me and Fauci. We get along just fine." Sure, there were a couple of mistakes. He was wrong on a couple of things, but in general, he's done a great job. That's what Trump said, right?
He gave us science.
Continue. He's still ranting. Go ahead.
You made mistake after mistake. Fauci never made one mistake. Never in his life. Don't you understand this? His science is sound, damn you!
Nicolas Cage comes to mind. Yeah, go ahead.
Except to try to superior your sorry ass. With an asterisk there.
Yeah.
And your insane ramblings. Now, Navarro spoke the same words you spoke, and you say the words that have come from you. You, sir, are a many times liar. They were your words, and I heard them.
Okay, he's lost his train of thought. It seems here. Continue. It's not done. Go ahead.
Liar, pants on fire. And now you disclaim his words are not yours. Pants on fire, Donald. Pants on fire.
This guy had a freaking midlife crisis here, dude. MSNBC decided to get in on the action.
Why are you media assholes grinning like jackasses while you are talking to medical people about cures and treatment? How would you idiots feel if you caught the virus and they told you had to wait for antibodies or the vaccine? Oh, but that means you could die.
Oh no. It's coming.
Tisk. You wouldn't be smiling then, would you?
No.
You'd want them to hand-deliver the latest experimental drugs and antibodies to you. To fucking day! The country's in chaos, and the doctors are no help. Citizens, not officials, would fix this in a day.
Wow. You know, the funny thing about that, Thundero, is Trump's the actual one who's trying to push for the experimental drugs, right? He's the guy saying, we need to do something. We need to use every option we have. He's the guy pushing for it. The Democrats are the ones saying, we can't do that. You can't use that. That's not, you can't do that. I mean, this guy is so delusional. He doesn't understand. He's arguing against himself.
The TDS has just overwhelmed these people. It's mind-boggling.
It's
It's
hilarious.
tragic, in fact, to watch these formerly rational people who you used to be able to have a conversation with. They're just gone. They're completely gone. It's like talking to a complete crazy person.
I agree
But they
100%.
don't have
And
the
you guys see why I
authority.
put this last, because this is freaking hilarious, because it continues, Booster.
But they don't have the authority. Officials have it. Do you know how many Union generals they had to go through to finally find Ulysses S. Grant? Somebody who could do the job. Doctors have to find a new way to advance medicines now. If Cuomo or Biden were put in charge of...
And that thing about Grant is not true at all. But I won't get into his story lesson, because we're enjoying Neil Adams right now. Go ahead.
the country today, we would have solutions tomorrow. So instead of that, millions are infected and hundreds of thousands die. And your boobs chuckle. And you boobs chuckle with your medical guests and never ask them the hard questions like, why the hell aren't antibodies given to every sick person? Sick person. Who are these sick people, Neil Adams? Who are the sick people? And why can't you accelerate your tests? Why are we hoping that The Rock will do your job? Your job. Stop laughing in the face of death. We hate you for it.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny because once again, it is being accelerated. You do realize that vaccines and such usually take years and years to develop. The fact that they're trying to get this done in less than a year, which looks like they're on track to do, freaking impressive. No credit, though, where credit's due, though. None at all. Yep.
Donald, you saved Wallman Memorial ice skating rink.
Yeah.
That must be where the sink people are.
From
Where I
Thunder
met
Rock
my
Rockefeller
first
Center.
wife, Corey. For that, I love you. And I believed you were good. You have driven that out of me with a sledgehammer of inhumanity. You are not an American.
Oh, goodness gracious. He went.
He's a
Donald,
pretty good writer. I like this guy.
Yeah, I
your
know.
father was wrong. He was a bigot. He made you a bigot.
Did he?
We are all equal. White people aren't even white people. We are all mixed and mongrel and equal. You stopped learning and became corrupt. You must step down. Save the country.
Oh no, save the country. And those of us who live in New York, even though Trump always tries to say positive things about his family and his father, even his insane niece, those who live in New York know that those two have had a row, had a row for a long time. But anyway, go ahead.
More ugly, rich, white executives from major car corporations are siding
You
with
mean
the
like the Japanese
administration.
Toyota and Honda? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, the whites of Asia.
Okay.
Against emission controls in California, who doesn't expect dogs like this to support killing the people with unreasonable air, like in the old days, while they line their pockets.
Oh no, like in the old days. Oh, no. Go ahead.
Hey, Toyota, knowing White's Car Corporation and GM, ever the scum of the earth, votes to poison the air to put more dollars in their pockets. Why are we not surprised? Are you handing out masks to your employees? Sad.
And there we go.
And he ends it with a Trump reference. Sad.
Sad. Wow, talk about a fall from grace, man. This guy did the one thing you never do, and I'm not a Twitter guy, but you never do this in life. You don't allow yourself to lose your shit and go on a rant. You don't, right? When you rant, it should always be controlled. If you can't control yourself, you suck it up, you count to 10, and then you try it again, right? He lost his shit, and he went on a rant, and he said, most everything he said, the opposite was actually true. And it's incredible, the TDS, as Thundera had said. But yeah, I don't think I need to add anything to this other than I still don't understand, John, what it means to be white in my head. I still don't get that.
John's busy. He's a busy man.
Well,
In
he's
your
he's
head.
He's being-
Explain to you. The thing is,
It's essentially this: when you're not white, right?
Uh-huh.
When you're not white, people are always your family, your friends are always talking to you about your about what you are, about your race. When you when you're right, you don't have to deal with any of that. You don't gotta walk
Okay,
around
I
with
am
that head
going
in
to
your
be
back.
Mexican. I'm going to be Mexican in my head.
Speedy Gonzalez. So what was that guy?
Hello,
Just
Senor Delete. I am Mexican.
Dad, is that you, Dad?
It's me, John. I come back from the store to get my smokes.
My father is dead,
Oh
Booster. You
I
son of a
ran
bitch.
into my
no,
SS
no, that's not right.
and we had a
Uh,
fiesta.
that's not right. But
Oh.
no, that actually, that's kind of a fair statement because white people, I mean, normal white people, they usually don't talk about their race at all. But you do hear other
I'm gonna put the
in
microphone
America.
over here for a second because I'm done and I'm putting my signature. This is very important. Excuse me for a second.
Very important.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me come. I'm done with the news anyway, so let me come back over. Yeah.
In all honesty, I agree with what John's saying, and I think that's the problem. I think white people need to start thinking about their heritage.
But then you're going to
We've
be
taken it.
then you're going to be what was the guy who got in an argument and John De La Rose took all the heat for it?
Vox
Vox,
Day.
right? Yeah, Vox Day,
Um,
right?
no,
Yeah.
you're not. Vox Day's he's a very intelligent man, but he's also an idiot. Uh, like a lot of highly educated people.
Like
But
me, my hands up.
yeah, that's correct. But no, I just think we need to. The problem is we don't think about our heritage. We white, especially in America, have become so just obsessed with like living in the moment or whatever you want to call it. Short-sighted. There's a good word for it. We don't have the bond. At least a lot of us don't. I do. I feel it very strongly, but a lot of us don't have that heritage, that link that we would feel, to our cultural heritages. We used to have that in America big time. They still do some of it in some places, like German American festivals and stuff like that. But it's not anywhere near as popular as it used to be. And because white people, generally speaking, do enjoy being around other people, we let other people come into that stuff very regularly, no problem. Like we share our culture. Um, so a great example, German American festivals. Anybody can go to a German American festival. You don't have to be German or German descent to do it. And you'll eat a bunch of German food and drink a bunch of German beer if that's what you're into, and you'll have a good time. But you have whole groups of non-white people, especially, and white people for some reason, saying you shouldn't do that in the other way. Like say we did a Mexican festival, you'll have a whole contingent of people who are saying, you're not allowed to celebrate this if you're white. That's cultural appropriation. It's ridiculous, and it
Yeah.
comes from a place of being part of a super culture that is a white culture.
Yeah.
The Anglican culture, the Anglo-Saxon culture that has
Oh,
dominated pretty
don't
much
you
all of
call me
civilization.
Anglo-Saxon, you bastard.
Well, America is still an Anglo-Saxon
It
nation.
is. It is. It is.
Um, it's dominated so much of the world. It even dominates in Japan, even though they've kind of mixed their culture
Yeah.
in with it.
Well,
Uh, that's just where we're at, and he's right about
it
that.
is.
People, we don't think about it because it's just so normal for us,
Yeah.
and because other people don't point it out. People do point it out a hell of a lot more now, and I think that's actually kind of a good thing because I think white people's heritage is awesome, and we should celebrate it. It's beautiful and wonderful, and it's
Yeah.
made the world a better place. Period. There's not even a question about that.
Well, it is. Of course, I was playing a little bit dumb, but the simple fact of the matter is, all cultures should be, embraced
Correct.
and held up. We don't want to lose any culture. Right? They're all wonderful and it's fun, it's interesting, it's different. I mean, God, if everything was the same, it would suck. But I agree with John 100% in this regard. The reason why white people, talk about Americans in particular, I think, is because American culture is world culture.
Yeah.
So they're just comfortable. Everyone has copied our stuff. To talk about cultural appropriation, there's a lot of stuff that these people who scream about cultural appropriation need to stop. One of it is stop speaking my goddamn language. Stop wearing my tight jeans. Stop all your nonsense because all that stuff you're doing is my culture. It's actually your culture too. But if you're going to be an asshole about it, get the fuck out.
And why don't you make me, fuckface?
Well, I mean,
careful. I have it under good
I'll wear
authority
my
that Trump
damn
has
jeans as tight as I want.
well, the thing is that clearly the American culture is not a white thing at all. It's everybody, right, who lives in the country. We're all American, all the different colors. It is an American culture. It's not a white culture at all. You think Americans are anything like Germans? Have you ever met a German? Huh? Or freaking French or the Dutch or the Polish, who I love. They are nothing like us. Their culture is incredibly different, but our culture is invasive. It is in everything. People, you taking our IPs, wearing our clothing, using our own damn lingo, right? It's not a white thing, it's an American thing. But,
I
and
agree,
yes, Eric.
Chester. I agree 100%.
Well, that's true, because it is what it is. But these people are just out of their minds. And yeah, I understand, Eric, that this is those are takes from Neil over a period of time, and I understand he does this a lot. But it was just too funny not to read. And I was going to try to do my thing, but I had in the back of my mind, Booster's going to be here. Booster's going to be here. I know he is. I had my fingers crossed, and he was here,
It's me.
and it was
It's me. It's
perfect.
Booster.
Because that article was made for you, brother.
It was absolutely just to show off my voice acting talents.
Just your enthusiasm. But damn, it is sad though. Neil Adams, I mean, he is an absolute legend, dude. Absolute legend. And
Let's not forget though, he is responsible for changing Green Arrow into a lefty in the 80s. He's always been a nutter.
it's fair enough.
Is he's the guy that wrote? He's the guy that wrote that book with that Zach was covering for a while with Etrigan the Demon, where he was just going batshit crazy with the Dead Man.
Dead Man, that's the one. He's responsible for that.
That was fantastic.
It really is. He's really good at what he does. He is.
I think he's in rare. I think Neil Adams at his best when he's spouting all kinds of crazy nonsense.
Well, his writing is off though, and damn, for a professional, legendary writer, it was really full of grammatical error. But I guess when you're ranting, you don't pay attention to those things. But yeah,
I think he was using a phone because there was all sorts of like autocorrect shenanigans there.
They were, yeah. But anyway, whew, I feel that was cathartic. I feel better. How do you guys feel?
Yeah. How do you think I feel after I play a round of Valley Dates? I do those voices the whole way through.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
But Slick, you've been real quiet, man. Would you like to add some comments here at the end of the show?
Sure, why not? Neil Adams is a great talent, but he's an ideological idiot. So there we go.
Well, Slick, I was just surprised how many of his comments were literally the opposite of facts. I mean,
that's what TDS does. They're lost in their own bullshit. They can't find their way out. And look, I'm first one to say that I have my own biases, right? But I mean, if you're just gonna live in your own little fantasy world in an echo chamber and not listen to anybody else, you're gonna end up like this.
I understand bias. I'm more of a C cup guy myself. Oh, that was a science and a language joke. Bam!
Oh,
Double the bazinga going on there. That was
a double
good
D.
Oh, no, I'm not into that. That's Dolly Parton territory. But yeah, no, of course you're right. And Thundera, you're not going to give me any love for that? That was clever.
What was clever? I wasn't listening to you.
Damn it! God. Fine. All right, let's end the show up. And let's start with no, you know what? I'm going to let John Namaste is out of here because that art is badass, dude. And Eric, I am not a wasp. How dare you? God damn it. Anyway, so let's come over here and we'll start with Booster and we'll end with John. So, Booster, what are your words of wisdom and anything you're trying to sell? Go ahead. Other than trainees.
Anything I'm trying to sell it.
Well, you're trying to sell
trainees. I'm definitely going to be trying to sell trainees, right? I'm Booster Kiwi on the YouTube and on the Twitter, of course. And you should definitely be keeping an eye on my YouTube channel for a while if you're not subscribed to it, because I am going to be uploading all sorts of degenerate content in the next few weeks. I'm going to have a new episode every few days, and it's all just complete ridiculous, lefty, woke ass nonsense, and I'm in rare form, just bullying the crap out of them. It's quite mean spirited content. I must admit, it's awful, it's cringy. I loved every second of doing it, and I hope you have as much fun watching it.
There you go. Awesome.
There's 2 episodes up now. I highly recommend you check them out. This is my masterpiece.
So when you become legend, are you going to throw me to the wind?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Slick.
Glad to be here. Hopefully the world calms down and doesn't explode in a ball of plasma. But if it does, then it'll be what I expect.
Yeah, well, dude, Neil Adams just freaking busted a nut right there, probably twice. Jesus. Thank you very much, Slick. Thundero.
What do you want, you Japanese traitor? What do you want?
I don't know. Where did that come from? I'm pure love, Thundero. What are you doing?
That's true. You are a lovable bugbear.
Yeah.
And sorry, I was reading an article on Breitbart how Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile have shut off the Trump campaign's texting program, which seems very illegal to me. But why not? Let's try this one too. Anyway, I should be here Sunday. I should be, but I will not be here next week, most likely. But other than that, have a good night.
Sweet. Thank you very much. And guys, we're going to end it up here with John Dillard and his spectacular Canadian buckler here. Sir, namaste us out of here.
All right. Well, you know what? Let me turn it a little bit so you guys, because I am finished with this. You guys are the first people to see it done, because once my signature goes on, that's it. I don't change anything. But there it is. It's gonna have to. I'm gonna crop the sides a little bit to make it. That's why I made it so large. It's 18 by 24. So I'm gonna crop it down a bit so it can be comic size for the cover. But there it is. You got a little tooth right there on the floor.
Yeah.
Or on the hood of the car.
Yeah.
He's having a good time, causing a ruckus. But I would suggest to everybody to go and enjoy other people's cultures, because it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
I went up to Lake Arrowhead not the other day, but a while back in October, and did the Oktoberfest thing where you got to catch sausages and all kinds of stupid nonsense.
Yeah, right.
And we went to Alvaro Street in Los Angeles for Cinco de Mayo, and we watched. There was all kinds of people there, white, black people enjoying the festivities. It's really fun to enjoy other people's cultures, and don't feel bad about it at all. And namaste.
Namaste indeed. Especially
Namaste.
Food. I love
and go sign up to the Buckler Indiegogo pre-launch page.
Please. Yeah.
Get free stuff. You get free stuff.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. We'll check you out tomorrow, of course, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Booster, what is tomorrow's Drawn and Quartered?
That is what I've been meaning to discuss with you after the show, because I need you to make an executive
decision. All right. Well,
yes.
let me go make that decision then. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for that, because that's always great seeing great artists up in there. Yeah, later.